Night footy at Marvel Stadium, St Kilda and Essendon. The teams are unchanged from what was posted. The Saints are hosting Spuds game, which will take a little bit of time over the next, in our pre-match. Just before we get to the rest of the round, we have actually chatted to go right through the ad break. Do you want to add a thought or two?
Well, he's at a nightclub and he's having a big night, but it doesn't look to me as if there's any clear evidence that he's out of control, either under the influence of alcohol or he's done anything that I reckon a lot of other guys would be doing at this time of their break. So I'm not sure where it sits. I know the headline doesn't look great, but I don't think the vision really is that damning. Jonesy, you're seeing it closer than I.
I'd have to agree with you, unless it's brutally obvious that it's him. It's sort of hard to, I guess, point the finger. But I guess in his situation, he has to almost avoid any situation where there is the potential for people to make any sort of assumption, just with his most recent history. And, you know, he's answered the critics with his performances this year on field, but he just has to make some alteration to his decisions and choices and behaviour off field, just because he's under such a microscope at the moment.
So if you're on the Collingwood leadership group, are you sitting there going, "Oh, come on, mate, haven't we been through this over and over?"
Oh, for sure. I think you'd have to, and I think the discussion would have had to have taken place. Like, you can't stop him from going over there, but surely there's an element of continuing to try and remind him, hey, just trying to avoid these kind of situations. But sort of wherever he goes, trouble in some sense seems to just continue to find him.
And I think what we're saying is, if you look at it as an island, there's not a real problem. But if you look at it with his future and the fact that Collingwood are in the 8, Collingwood don't need any distractions, Collingwood are on the march, I think Collingwood are entitled to say to him, well, listen, make smarter decisions. We don't want it. We don't even if you've done nothing wrong, we don't need the distraction of defending you. So can you just go over there, keep low key, and just keep out of people's TV screens or telephone screens?
Stay off Insta. Don't be.
There's nothing to be gained by being the superstar on Insta in his position at the moment.
The Insta generation's got its pitfalls, and surely we're seeing a little bit of that. At the rest of the round, Hutto, set us up for what's to come beyond tonight, and then we'll delve deep.
Saturday starts tomorrow. The early game is Port Adelaide and Sydney. Be interesting to see what Port can deliver in the back half of the season. It's going to be hard for them to make the 8 now, but 12th position. The Swans are 7th. It's always a little bit uncertain coming off a break, isn't it, for any team? But Buddy's back, and Port are losing a couple with Boak not available.
No, Boak's a huge out, and unfortunately that's where Port are at the present time. They're still relying on Travis Boak. Rosie and Butters get a lot of the footy, but I think I looked at the numbers for tomorrow's game at 25 possessions, 2 score involvements. So he needs to have 20 possessions and 8 score involvements. That's Connor Rosie taking them to the promised land. Butters is a bit similar. They've got some work to do, but it's a danger game for Sydney. I mean, they're full of kids. They've come off a euphoric victory. They're pushing Buddy back into the side. Where he plays is anybody's guess. I guess he starts out of the forward line. What's that do to Sam Reid? What's it do to their structure? I don't know. But if he could do what he did the previous week against the Tigers, or 2 weeks ago, well, I don't think anybody will be worried about that.
Fascinated as to what West Coast Eagles can deliver. Rhett Bazzo is the debutant, and Jermaine Jones comes in as well. And then these names, Jack Petruccelli, and then these names: Jeremy McGavin, Willie Rioli, Dom Sheed for the first time this year, and Yippee Yai Elliot Yo Geraldine. So all those West Coast Eagles premiership players return. The Cats, Menegola plays his first game for the year. Parfitt is who he essentially replaces, who is injured. Gary Rowan is ill. And Kolajasny back in as well.
Well, the one thing we've learnt this year, Jonesy, is beware the Eagles paper team. They have got great names, and they are great names. They're great premiership players, but they haven't produced when they've been on the track, whether it's through injury or whether it's through COVID-related non-fitness. But it's now the midway of the season. They've had the post-bye break. They're ready to go, and they were much more competitive last week against Adelaide, so there's no reason why they shouldn't be in the game, and it's a challenge for everyone to go over there. And Chris Scott will be...
He's done his best to kind of say, beware of the Eagles.
Well, he's built up Tim Kelly's game. I'd like to see the comparisons from a ratings perspective with Gary Ablett at his best versus Tim Kelly.
He's clutching a bit there, isn't he?
I think there'll be a little bit of a disparity, about 50% of a disparity, but he makes the point. The point is he's playing a good game, a good brand of footy, and he's had a great year.
Yeah, but has he really? I mean, he's had a good year, but none of them have had a great year, have they?
Oh, McGovern's had a great year.
Yeah, okay.
His numbers have been undersold by a lot of people.
Kelly's ball use doesn't measure up if you look at it, but he's had no support around him. So
no, his ball use hurts him badly when you get Hoyne to give us your assessment as his ranking period in comparison to the great Gary Ablett.
The main thing about Kelly that's fascinated me from the start at the Eagles is he just hasn't kicked goals, whereas at Geelong he was a goal a week man.
Different teams are.
Yeah, but the Eagles were notionally a strong team.
Oh, you mean last year?
And at Geelong, not only did he kick a goal a week, every second goal was a really good goal.
Yep.
His list of highlights of goals at Geelong was significant.
When I saw Chris Scott's comments, it sparked something that I was trying to do for tonight, and that is to go through all those players that have been traded for 2 or more first rounders and ask yourself, have they been worth it? And have a look at the draft and the kids that they could have taken. Would they have gone past the likes of Dylan Shield if you had to just maintain the faith?
Yep.
I think the one that's really challenging is Jeremy Cameron. I mean, they were first rounders, but they weren't high first rounders. So there's first rounders and there's first rounders. And Jeremy Cameron has delivered and delivering in spades right now. But
he has, but it's still as to what is he going to deliver. He's going to win a lot of games for Geelong.
Yeah.
Is he going to win them the flag?
And what would the other kids have delivered?
Yeah.
And that's the real challenge. Dylan Shield.
Could be Ollie Henry, for example.
But he hasn't certainly justified more than one draft pick. I reckon if I was in charge of a club, I'd have a rule, Jonesy, no first-round exchanges.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's dependent on where you're at as far as that premiership window goes.
Yep.
But, I think as an overall, I just can't understand. And when you consider 2 of them, like you've mentioned, with some players, geez, it's hard to justify when you go back on history.
You guys will know better than I, but I think I've spoken to Andrew Mackey about this. Their exchanges were in the 18s, the 14s, that they were high first rounders. So, and they got a little bit back, and I think they're pretty happy with some of the players they've picked up with those picks. So it is horses for courses, but as a principle, I'm not a big fan.
Saturday night, the Giants and the Bulldogs. So there is a rivalry here, isn't it? That goes back at least to the 2016 preliminary final. Ryan Angwin will make his debut, so another high pick for the Giants. Haynes returns. It'd be interesting to see what output he can produce in the second half. And Bruce is back in as another ruckman. Johannisen, and then they've gone back to Shaki and Ugle-Hagan, the Bulldogs, which is interesting with Josh Bruce's return not that far away.
Well, they need some help up forward, so I'm not surprised about that. The Karma bus has been in. He's been impressive at various stages, but he's going to go in and out like most of these tall forwards. But it's a big game. I don't think the Dogs make the finals if they lose. And it's a big game for the Giants just to sort of frank their form against 2 poor sides. An impressive loss against Brisbane, a good side. Well, let's just see how they perform against a genuine opposition.
The old question about the replacement stand-in coach. How many games, or where does Mark McVeigh have to get the Giants to be a real
I put him
contender?
on notice on Thursday night when we had him on Sports Day, Hutto.
Yeah.
If they win, the official campaign is starting.
What do you think, Jonesy?
Yeah, well, we were talking about this off air. I think if you look at his history in the game, what's he been? 10 years service as an assistant. He's well credentialed and experienced to be right in the mix to be a senior coach. And I don't see why, when you look at that, why he shouldn't be considered, particularly if he gets the team going and they continue to win in the back half of the year, play more competitive footy and almost establish a distinct brand. Why not?
2 of the coaches have a great chance at another job. I don't think he'll get the Giants job. I think it would thrust him right forward for the jobs over the next 3 years.
I think you only have to see the performance of Craig McRae and what he's done, Sam Mitchell what he's done. There are guys out there ready to roll. And he may well be one of them. It may not happen for him, but people power have turned over those notions before. Paul Roos was the case in in question.
Do they have enough people?
That's a good question.
That's a very good point. It goes back to our previous discussion.
Would he have to go to a new club, do you think? Can the stand-in coach ever stay? I know
he should go.
John Barker did, but yeah,
No,
I
he should
agree.
go. Yeah, but let them put the new regime in that they wanted change,
Yep.
and then go with your stock soaring and be a senior assistant coach to another and be front and square for the next 3 years.
Jonesy, what about if all the players said we want Spike McVeigh? Should that matter?
Yeah, I think it should. I absolutely think it should. I think in GWS's case, because I don't think this is a total rebuild. Their list is well and truly capable. They've got some terrific players on there as far as sort of the demographic of their entire list. I think there's a huge opportunity for them to bounce real quickly. And if there is a swell of support amongst the playing group, why not?
I noticed Ash Hansen was pushed up today as a likely candidate.
Yeah, you can guess. You can be sure that whatever Spike's thoughts were when he initially got the job, that not worrying about whether I get a chance. By now, he's already thinking. Well,
why wouldn't he? He's got a taste, and if he beats the Bulldogs tomorrow, he's going to have a big taste.
That's a big game. So that's one to look forward to. And the final one where we have some news on teams is Sunday's game between the Suns and the Crows. And at home, that's one the Suns need to win if they think they're going to play finals footy. Levi Casbolt does return. Flanders and Lemons in. Unfortunately, Malcolm Roses is ill, so he's out along with Sam Day and Jeremy Sharp omitted, and Lockie Weller, of course, with a long-term injury. Rochelle and Butts return for the Crows at the expense of Hinge and Murphy, who have been omitted.
Flanders is an interesting one. He's a long time coming. He was touted as going number 5 in his draft a few years ago. Swans were really keen on him. Tossed the coin between him and Stevens. Took Stevens. Both aren't playing senior footy. Well, Stevens isn't at the present time. He slipped to 11. And yet his highlights reel reminded me of the great Jimmy Bartell, and yet he hasn't been able to make an impact. So maybe now is his moment.
All right, let's get into the garage for our match preview. Thanks to Autobarn. Autobarn has all your top automotive gear at low prices. The warm-ups are happening before us. St Kilda and Essendon out on Marvel Stadium. For Rheem, ask your plumber to install the Rheem Steady, Hot and Strong. Jared Healy and Nathan Jones, give us your thoughts.
Well, my thoughts, Jonesy, are pretty simple here. At the moment, St Kilda are playing a much better brand of footy, and they should have just about got the job done last week. And yet, if you look at the numbers, they were so competitive without being great in a fair few areas. 3 points only from stoppage last week. That is quite incredible. It'll almost be more difficult to try and do that than actually concede it. Only 63% of their first possession turned into a clearance number. So they succumbed badly to the pressure of Brisbane, who were absolutely brilliant around the ball. They lost contested possession by a couple, and yet they were still in the game. So they had some positives. As I said earlier, Brad Crouch was good. Brad Hill, I don't think will play on the half-forward line again. They've got some serious players through the middle. Brad Crouch, I think, will lead the pack as well. But if you look at the names and you compare them to the Bombers, Ryder, Ross, Hunter Clark-Back, who's a pretty good player, Brad Crouch, Gresham and Jones, up against Merritt, Martin, who's a first-year player, Dylan Shear was good last week, Durham is a kid, and Hobbs is a kid. So they should be able to brutalise the Bombers, and if they don't walk away here with the 4 points, they'd be really disappointed.
For sure. I look at it as a game that the Saints need to sharpen their swords, really. It's an opportunity for them to I think, build momentum around some of these areas that you've mentioned. They need to come with the right mentality, and I think that's the test tonight. You see an Essendon team and you think, oh, here we go, we can all cash in and all get a lick of the ice cream, but ultimately it's around their system and how much can they get that motoring and humming to the level they'd expect. I expect a big game from their forwards in particular. Essendon's ability to be able to defend their defensive 50 is quite poor, so expect Max King, Ryan Marshall, these kind of tall defenders to really stretch the Bombers. And as you mentioned, around the middle, and don't underestimate Essendon. They really lifted in that area. Their pressure, their contest, their clearance last week. So it's going to be a challenge for the Saints, and I think the biggest challenge is going to come between their ears.
I'd like to see them move the ball better. They want to compete with the best. They've got to get better at transition. You can't be 15th moving the ball from the back half to the front half if you're going to compete at the top end in September. And when you have got the likes of King and Marshall and Membry, as you said, they're going to go much better if you've got a better system moving the ball. So they're little things that this is a good side to work on. And it's even more intriguing because the one thing Essendon are trying to do tonight is to stop that transition. They're horrible at keeping the ball in their forward half. So it's a big test in many ways for the Saints to see if they can do it. And just going back to Brad Hill, I understand why they did it, but the last 4 weeks, outside of playing in the forward line, he's had 27 possessions in defence and he's been involved in 16 scoring chains. Last week, he had no possessions in relative terms, 15 possession, and involved in 2 scoring chains. So it didn't work. Let's get the chop out, acknowledge it, and move into the back line.
They were trying to do what Freo did with Frederick.
Yeah.
But it clearly didn't work.
Got a match-up or two for Illuminate Garden Lighting in a league of their own.
Jonesy, I like the match-up in the middle, Draper versus the former Essendon ruckman in Paddy Ryder. Talk about young bull and old bull. This is a young bull and old bull absolute blockbuster.
I like that one, Jared. I'm interested in the Shield Crouch matchup. I think, and I'll be watching that pretty closely. My brother might also come into that equation at some point too, which I'll be watching closely as well. But
we'll be watching the votes.
He's one of the rare cases where someone has hamstring soreness. The club says he might play, and he actually does.
I know. Well, he came to my house literally straight after he got off the plane and had a scan, and he goes, no issues. And I was like, couldn't believe it. It's because I was expecting it to be, the standard minimum 3-weeker. Yeah. So that was a relief, and progressed well throughout the week, and he finds himself right to go.
Some of the young kids we're keeping an eye on, Martin, Durham and Hobbs for the Bombers. They're the future. And if they're going to do it, they're going to get plenty of opportunity. Sinclair is in all-Australian form across the half-back line. Whether they try and put a cooler on him, it may well even be D'Ambrosio in his first game. Perkins has been in good form for the Bombers as well. All eyes will be on Stringer. I'm not sure who'll go to him. Maybe it'll be Webster or Wilkie potentially. And Howard versus Wright is also a matchup. Who goes to Max King? They haven't got anybody of size, really, but Ridley's probably the option, isn't he?
I think he's the obvious one, and they'll just rely a lot. I think what it does present is an amazing opportunity for those young guys in the midfield to stamp their brand on the type of pressure and game that they're looking for.
Yep.
And that's well within their control. They don't have to bring anything special other than what Gia spoke about pre-game was their intent, and that was the difference between the first half and the second half last week. And with a young and sort of enthusiastic midfield group, that opportunity is one that they should be licking their lips about.
Well, Stewart's come into the side. He's the only other obvious candidate, so he'll get one of those jobs. Jonesy, you're the expert in ball transition and forward line movement and blocking end-to-end ball movement. Can you keep a focus on what Essendon are doing and bring it to our listeners? Because every time I speak to a Bombers fan, they want to know why they can't defend. 18-man defence. They've got 2 guns over from Richmond who are part and parcel of premiership defences. Let's pick it apart a little bit through the game and just see whether there's improvement and where the weaknesses are.
For sure, and it'll be all around that their ability to be able to put pressure on at the source and squeeze the ground and take out outlets and options. And ultimately, their ability to be able to win clearance and win contests and take the ball and keep it in sort of the front half territory for them is obviously going to allow them a lot more opportunity.
Fair chance Jake Stringer's going to be at the opening bounce, I reckon. Give it an opportunity.
I would think so.
Illuminate Garden Lighting. Unmissable moments for Drinkwise. Choose to Drinkwise. You won't miss a moment if you Drinkwise. When these two teams met in round 3 last year, Essendon won by 75 points. Yeah. So that gives you an idea of the fluctuating fortunes since then to now. The teams are going to come together in the middle of the ground, and we will get the final words from our experts for Shawl Unify, your national uniform and workwear experts. They'll intersperse in the circle, and in the middle of it will be Nathan Burke and Tim Watson as the lights are dimmed and the spotlight falls right into the centre of the ground as we get the message for Spud's game on the Friday night of round 14.
Starts in the same place.
With the same action.
It's time to talk.
Well, right now the game should be starting, but we want to pause for a 2-minute delay for this really special message. 1 in 2 people will struggle or suffer or experience mental health throughout their lives. Now, whether you're at home watching this on the TV, or you're here in the stands, or you're one of the players in the circle in the middle of Marvel Stadium right now, beyond tonight, we all have the responsibility to go out there, talk to our families, talk to our friends, talk to our work colleagues about mental health. Have that conversation. Danny was acutely aware of the need for that conversation, how important having that conversation is. That's Danny Frawley's legacy. Nathan Burke was a great mate of Danny Frawley, a great teammate and a legend of the St Kilda Football Club.
Thanks, Tim. Danny Frawley was my captain for 9 years. No leadership groups, just one man out the front leading the way. He led with passion, with loyalty. He was tough yet vulnerable. He wore his heart on his sleeve. He connected us together. He cared. He wanted to make us not only better footballers, but better men. He carried a large burden on his shoulders. But he did it so well that we thought he didn't need help. But now he needs help more than ever. He needs help from us to continue the fight that he started. He needs us to be brave, to put our hand up when we're not okay, to intervene with our mates when they're not okay, to step forward and say, I need a chat. That's what Danny would want from us. For the St Kilda boys tonight, I want you to channel the spirit of Spud. The spirit of Spud is courageous, it's fearless, it's relentless. It's about making your teammate the best player on the ground. It's selfless. So whenever you go into a contest tonight, I want you to carry that spirit of Spud with you. And if you do that, nothing can stop you from greatness. Tim?
Thanks, Berkey. Just finally to the Essendon players. Spud was the ultimate teammate, the ultimate team man. He'd never concede, he'd never yield, he'd never leave one of his mates out here alone, unassisted. And he was the ultra competitor. All of you, as a tribute to Spud tonight, play this game in a great competitive spirit and may the best team win. And to everybody else beyond here, go out there in the community and have the conversations. Let's keep talking about mental health to honour Spud. Good luck, everybody.
That's a powerful presentation, isn't it?
Yep.
Beautifully carried by Nathan Burke and Tim Watson.
Yeah, I must say the Fox promo, which had some outtakes of Spud talking, it got me during the week. It really did, and we were lucky enough to know him, and probably didn't know. We knew some of his struggles, not all of them, but seeing him be that silly clown and doing outtakes, and oh God, it was But that was just an awesome message, wasn't it?
The two teams in their huddles before they'll head to their positions and get play underway. So our preview has been for Autobahn, Top Gear, low prices. And St Kilda's game tonight is for Holmes Glen. Enroll mid-year at Holmes Glen. Last thought or two, Nathan, Jared, what's going to happen?
Hard not to be inspired by that, Jared. Yeah, well, it's pretty moving, really, listening to that. But And what an honour to be here tonight and to witness that. And what an honour it must be for the players to experience what they experienced in that centre bounce. It should make for a really good game. Hopefully an amazing contest played in the spirit of Spud. And my tip, I think the Saints will get it done.
Yeah, well, you'd really expect Essendon to step up again. They work rate last week was excellent. It was a big game for them last week, a big moment. But this is a game that St Kilda, in Spud's game, just do not walk off without 4 points. It'll start in the middle. Both sides have got some challenges with the way they move the ball. And let the game begin.
Opening bounce for Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety. Hutto, in honour of Spud, lower your eyes to the centre of the ground and get us underway.
And it's a perfect bounce which splits the ruckman as Ryder and Draper went in the air and then they charge after it. Ross had the first kick, but it was smothered by Shield. And then Hill came in for St Kilda, got the hand pass with some width to Billings. Back in the team, he kicks towards full forward. Good strong defence by the Bombers. Denied access for Membry. Hurried kick away from Hine, close to the boundary line. It's kept in by Durham. He's able to stretch the handball to Redmond. And the Bombers are now on the move out of defence as Stringer, who started in the middle, provides a way out. He takes the chest mark just behind the right wing and then pops the next kick along the line to Guelph.
Guelphy's right on halfway. The Bombers in their largely red jumper and the white shorts. Let's fly to half forward. Arrives into the pack and it fell the way of Durham, who took the flying shot and missed to the near side. It was Wright who had the big fly.
Harry Jones is obviously up in that forward line. They've gone with Josh Battle against him. Stringer, as you said, started in the middle, and Hill has started across the half-back line as expected.
Is that Peter Street you were referencing?
Moving start, I must say.
Great kick in from Howard, right down the middle, marked by Membry. Handball off to Gresham, who goes Sard-like with bouncing the ball every metre or two. Kicks long to Marshall, who made himself a significant target. Didn't take the mark. It stays alive for Butler, who didn't get enough curl on the snap and doesn't even score out on the full.
It was a poor kick, wasn't it, Jonesy? I mean, he had no pressure whatsoever. I'm not even sure what he was trying to do with it.
I think defensively from the Bombers, they would have just loved to have they needed to get a hand on that long kick down the line from the kick out.
So the footy on the last line with Hine for the Bombers. He goes forward and back, and then he's going to go through to the defensive goal square. And there's a wide target, and that was Dylan Shield, who just had enough room now to get away from Membry after marking and kick to the wing. Guelphy dropped the mark, and the reason he did is he was interfered with by Ryder, and he looks a little bit lame afterwards. He climbs to his feet now to take the free kick.
Howard on 2 metre Peter is going to be a big matchup. If he can't kick 3 or 4, the Bombers probably don't win.
Well, it is a big matchup, isn't it, one way or the other, Jarrett?
Thank you, Hutto.
Thank you very much. Short to Kelly, who takes the mark still behind the wing. Behind the Bombers, no score to the Saints. Kick up to the 50, it cleared Jones's head, who was the primary target. Durham underneath, can't take it. They scrounge for it hard. Hobbs had a bit of a crack at it. It's alive. Merritt flicks it out the back to Hine, who's a long way away from half back. His kick is smothered as the Saints defence do their job and knock it over the line and out of bounds. Our experts address with thanks to Ringers Western, but of course they're being brought to you by Shaw Unify Uniform Experts.
Right half forward for the Dons. Boundary throw in. They have the only score, the behind so far. Draper taps it down to the front. Shield hand passes it closer to the boundary. Merritt is dragged off it. Draper ended up with it. Ryder tackles him. Ball released close to the boundary and pushed all the way is Perkins, who couldn't work anything out before the boundary throw in was called.
Wingman Malera back into the side and comes in on a wing. He's a lovely disposer of the ball. Just got to keep on trying to get more possessions to use that gifted foot.
Draper tapped it to the back. Martin just kept off it momentarily. Darren was stripped of the footy. Working hard in close confines was Hobbs, but he coughed the footy up and St Kilda are on the dash. Gresham has a bounce at half-back, pulls up, ends up having to retreat with a hand pass to Wilkie. Under pressure and forced further back. Gresham's going to kick. Risky. Wright got himself into the top spot. Knocked it down and Jones snaps the goal. The Bombers get the first. And if you go too far back, Jared, that's what happens to you.
Footy gods get you, particularly when the opposition are absolutely just desperate to improve on their front half game, Jonesy.
Oh, it was brilliant, really, and it's the...
Started with Who was it? The young number 1. McGrath, sorry.
Well, what I loved was Stringer's effort, really. When the ball went back, he chased and chased and chased and just got a finger on the kick, which allowed, it allowed a little bit more height to the footy. And big 2 metre Peter got a hand on it, and they snaffled it at ground level with a beautiful finish. But they've signalled their intent early, and if that's a sign of what's to come, the Bombers are on.
2 metre Peter came back with a fly to the ball. It had 8 half efforts, which evolved into 1 turnover, 1 goal.
Tyre Power scoreboard, your trusted tyre experts. The lone goal is Essendon's. 1-1-7. Saints yet to score. Took the second bounce, and then away goes Draper. He can't wriggle the ball free legally. He's penalised for holding the ball as Crouch has been one of the best for the Saints this year.
But good luck to Draper. He worked really hard to get it. He got pinged, but the coach wouldn't be too perturbed with that.
Short to Zach Jones, just forward of the centre, and a nice little guided pass to Ryder. It gives the instant handball to Crouch. He's kicking to the 50, though. He's shut down by Redmond. It's on in earnest. Jones overcommitted and may have pushed in the back. St Kilda's Jones, he does. And the free kick goes to Redmond of Essendon. And it's a free handball to go over to Hine. They can pile up the handballs. Another one along the line to Shield. Now a forward handball to Heppel, who can give to Martin in tight confines. Not perfect, but okay to Hobbs. Kick before he tackled. Wright can mark this in the pocket. As the Saints just slightly out of kilter. The incoming football was read well by Wright. He had to wait an awkward moment as they tried to close him out, but ultimately they failed.
Well, that's the transition we were talking about before the game. They're poor at it, 18th in the competition, but that was excellent work. A free kick given away by Zed Jones. I don't think he's ever given a free kick away that he agrees with, but nevertheless, it was there. But this sets up another shot at goal.
Well, it sets up a set shot from about 8 metres inside the line, right side for a right footer. It's not bad, but it's just the wrong side of the goal post. Peter Wright, who had 23 goals, 7 from set shots until then, misses narrowly. It was a tough shot, but they're the sort of connections that could make a big difference. 1-2-8 to nothing.
Sinclair, it's not a great kick in. Billings had numbers against him and he couldn't mark, so Merritt has it. The Bombers go straight back inside, and Wright is on the lead to take the mark.
Well, this is everything they would have been talking about through the week. Just constant forward half turnovers, and this is another one. So that'd be 3 significant forward half turnovers for this match, and 2 metre Peter gets another shot at goal. This one will go straight through.
No angle to deal with this time in his 100th game. Peter Wright lets fly. It's at the left-hand post, and it sneaks the wrong side of it. So he's missed 2 in a row. It's 1-3 to nothing on the Tyre Power, your trusted tyre expert scoreboard.
And our experts next door with the Bomber scarves on, they cannot believe it.
Yeah, that one hurts. It is with Webster at full back. He favours the dock side as a scungy old kick off the instep, and it's marked by Heppel, who looked to return it deep. A hesitation from Stringer, who led out of the square. Jones arrives there as the big men start to mill around. Set up kick, just took a bit of the pace off it. Right is deep. Jones, the flyer, can't take the mark. Loose ball to be won underneath. Bombers appeal for holding the ball. They won't have their way as Webster was mauled by Jones, and we'll have a ball up in that forward pocket as the Bombers continue to attack. 1-3-9 to nothing.
We've got Ridley at the present time on Big Max. Not a factor at the moment.
Marshall tapped it down to Ross, gave it to Sinclair. High ball doesn't clear the 50, so an important one to win. Gresham with the sharp hand pass. Higgins was overwhelmed by the pressure, and Redmond came striding through. He took an unlikely shot, which never threatened out to the left. So 1-4 to nothing. The Bombers pour the pressure on the Tyre Power, your trusted tyre expert scoreboard.
And I'm not minding the fact that they haven't got the score on the scoreboard just yet, but the way they're playing, the intent of defence, the ability to close outlets and close options down, their willingness to chase and tackle Essendon are right on here.
Long didn't quite know which way to turn, but eventually found a way out as he turned around from Durham, gets the kick back towards half-back, picked up by Zach Jones. It's in the Membry direction, who comes out and marks in front of 2 Bombers. Has them turning quickly back to goal. King and Ridley got there. His timing was superb. He got the fist away to Merritt. It puts the hand pass out in front of Caldwell. More of the same, but it's errant this time. Battle intercepts. Gave it to Ross. Bangs it up in the Higgins direction. Heppel, a terrific spoil, back with a flight. Pressure on Phillips. His hand pass not perfect to Laverty, but he's good enough. Gets it away to Heppel and out of Caldwell. More time on his side this time. And he finds Ham, who takes the mark just behind the wing and pops it over to Guelph. He showed a lot of it, though, to Ben Long, who cuts in and knocks it over and out.
Well, every Bomber fan will be absolutely thrilled with what they're seeing right now. This is a high-class team defence and it's high-class forward half pressure. They have created a lot of opportunities. They're getting back. They're intercepting. Can't be playing better except scoring goals.
10 minutes in on the Makita clock, 10 points to nothing. Phillips won the tap, but the Saints get the footy. High ball from Clark up toward the 50. King had 3 pitted against him. He will get a free kick for some holding. He's well outside the arc. Higgins is the deep target, so too Membry. He goes for Membry, who's got 2 against. Chasing it underneath, gathering well. Burns trying to hook it around, but he ran out of space. He's the wrong side of the boundary.
Once again, incredible defence by the Bombers. As you said, Jonesy, they are hot, they're on.
So deep forward for the Saints, the boundary throw in. Phillips and Marshall, shoulder to shoulder. Marshall, clean tap. Gresham tried to get through, ran into a tackle, knocked off holding the ball.
Just another sign there. Beautiful tackle there by Heppel, I think it was. Just an element of desperation with the way they're defending and playing at the minute.
10-0 so far off the captain's left boot to Redmond. A sharp kick required to Caldwell, who couldn't hang on to a hot ball. It rebounded back to Redmond, and the tidying up is done by Heppel, who goes short again to Caldwell.
They haven't been forced down the line too often, and again they just continue trying to move the St Kilda zone defence. That time only with a 15-metre kick, which is probably not that effective.
In the end, McGrath has to go for the long kick reluctantly. Back to the wing. Hunter Clark there. Had some support around from Crouch and Zach Jones. Wore a reasonably high tackle. The umpire ticked it off. And we'll call for another ball up.
So they're hot right now, Jonesy. Does St Kilda get the ball and just take the heat out of it, or they try and counter-punch? When you're ready.
Marshall to Billings, play back in motion. High ball. Max King has a sider, comes to it. The spoil is made effectively by Ridley. Underneath him, Redmond got a quick handball. And here is D'Ambrosio. Kicks it quickly out to half-back, and he kicks it well. He found a teammate in Ham, who decides just to play the waiting game for a moment until Martin could run on, but he was set up. It was a poor kick. Intercept from Battle, and the Saints can thrust forward. A sliding chest mark taken by Higgins just outside the arc. He'll make a quick assessment. King leads into the pocket. It looks like the logical target. Bombers knew it too. Kelly cut across, did enough to disrupt, and it's out of bounds.
Got to do better than that kick from Ham, though. It's just, you've worked really hard. You've got control. You cannot give it back as easily as that.
Jared Healy for Shaw Unify uniform experts. 35 out from the St Kilda goal, searching for their first score. Marshall will win the tap. Crouch onto the footy to Gresham, feeds it to Zach Jones. There's a push in the back, free kick, and Long took an advantage when it was unwise. Wilkie works it around. Wangani, Malera, flying shots, awful contact.
I don't get that kick, Jonesy. You're 45 metres out, you try and bend it. He's a beautiful drop punt. It was one of the reasons he was recruited. You're under no pressure, just go back and nail it. 9 turnovers to 2 right now. It tells the story of the game.
Missed the lot out on the full, the stats for safety steal sheds.
Kelly kicks the ball to half-back, but it's not going far. Battlers had his hands on the footy a number of times already. Takes the mark on the intercept this time and sends it back into the St Kilda attacking goal mouth. King is the target. 3 Bombers make the spoil. Gresham, it fell for him perfectly. And the goal front never looked larger as Gresham runs in a goal despite the pursuit of McGrath. The Saints first comes about a classic forward roving. St Kilda 1 straight 6, Essendon 1 4-10. And that is all on the Tyre Power scoreboard, your trusted tyre experts.
To go back on your question a little earlier, Jared, I think the Saints have just got to weather the storm. You can already see the signalled intent from Essendon, and the pressure is hot. So depending on the phase of play, they've just got to find ways to gather control and wrestle some of that ascendancy back in their favour. And clearly the opportunity came there. Gresham just played the percentages. Brilliant crumb and beautiful finish.
He now has a score involvement for both clubs, doesn't he, Gresham?
He does indeed. Yes, you're right, Hutto. What was interesting was he had no man. He's playing in the middle of the ground. He just pushed forward. No one tracked him. And he was in the right spot at the right time.
He's had 6 touches and a goal.
Tonight's St Kilda game is for Holmes Glen. Mid-year intake. Apply now at Holmes Glen. Marshall wins the footy and tumbles it forward. Well gathered by Butler, and it was beautiful service as well to Clark into the pocket. King took it on the first bounce, sold the dummy, opened things up. Riders in the pocket. Yeah. He'll take the mark. What a move by King. Ryder's just not on the correct angle. As
he was lucky, Paddy Ryder. I don't know why he kicked that back, but Jared, you made it. I don't know what you'd call that move, but it was a move inside and then a pirouette to the outside. It was absolutely delightful. And then the kick to Paddy Ryder. They can stretch them, and Ryder's should just go back and kick this goal with the drop, with the boomerang.
We'll start on the boundary. He goes the drop punt and he hammers it into the right-hand post. Saints turn to miss. They're down by 3 on the Tyre Power, your trusted tyre expert scoreboard.
It's amazing athleticism. He stopped on a dime.
He did.
Hine with the job to bring the ball back into play. Heads to the City side off the hands of Phillips. Hill is there, gathers it in, gave it to Hunter Clark. Turns on the inside this time. Off the left boot. It was short, scrappy, but okay. Billings got decent length. King! Powerful in the middle of the pack. And takes the mark 35 metres out from goal.
Poor old Ridley was claiming it was touched. I don't think we're going to go to the third umpire for that one. But what I liked, Jonesy, was instead of going back and then back and back, they turned it on the wing and they came back the same way. And they put the pressure on and they caught Max King in a one-on battle. It was great ball movement by the Saints. In fact, it was 2 against 1. Yeah. And the big man raised the arms up and just snaffled it.
35 metres out is the equation. Just away to the left ever so slightly. Not an issue for Max King. He puts up his first of the night. And the Saints take the lead for the first time. 2-1-13. Essendon at a 1-4-10. Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety. James Stewart is actually the sub for Essendon, which is a little curious, isn't it?
Very, considering the firepower that the Saints possess up there. But
maybe if King kicks 3 or 4 goals, an Essendon player might get an injury.
tight hamstring.
Signs are ominous, though. He started beautifully with a little bit of service. You can already sense the Saints arresting some of that momentum back. Yep. I love their defensive play in that sort of passage, their ability to be able to turn over the footy in their front half, and as you mentioned, Jared, go straight back at the Bombers, giving the forwards plenty of opportunity.
Max King running hot for Ream, steady, hot and strong. Saints by 3, not a great bounce, allowed to go on. So the ruckmen continue after it, Ryder and Draper. There's an Essendon free kick off the ball to Shield. He's about to get run down from behind. He got blindsided as he trundled away and was called to play on, and Butler mowed him down. He spreads it to the near side. Wanganeen Malera stretches out, has a bounce, got himself into a tight spot, fluffed the kick inside 50. Butler had to gather it off his laces. He's trying to muscle his way out of the tackles. He lost it, and he goes holding the ball now. So the Bombers are going to bring this clear. Caldwell out the far side, bouncing ball. Guelphy and Harrison Jones are there. Guelphy paddled it to his own advantage. Kicked in the Phillips direction. Had to go the spoil. He was being held.
Not a lot in it, but umpires a lot closer than us.
Wilkie didn't like the call, but he kept the peace.
Tiny arm around was what the umpire saw, I think.
Phillips will lob this to the goal. Harrison Jones to the front. It clears right. Durham, it's kept away from him by Wanganeen Malera. Hand passes defensively, and off the last line, it's a careful kick. Patton finds Billings.
He does, and he turns off the left and keeps it close to the boundary line, where Webster is a further safe haven along the line. So it's 1-4-10 Essendon, St Kilda 2-1-13. Webster brings it back to Howard. No ground gain. Now he plays on. Filled Shield enough to get himself into the clear, and it was a good-looking kick to Higgins, who led up the ground but properly dropped the chest mark. It spills out of bounds.
You can't ask for better delivery than that. He just sort of snaffled that one, Higgins.
The stats for safety steel sheds. We'll keep an eye on all the key indicators tonight. Clearances are 9-1 in favour of the Saints at the moment.
That got 4 centre clearances to 0.
Yeah, that is significant. Clark turned beautifully with the foot. He had him in a spin. Kicked it back to the wing. Hine had the foot. He dropped it straight away, but he was clobbered high, according to the umpire. So on the logo, Nick Hine will take the free kick for Essendon. About to send them forward. Free kick 6-4 in favour of Essendon at this early stage. He's going to keep it out wide at half forward. Challenge the 100-gamer right to fly. Couldn't take the mark. Howard had his measure. A hand pass from Ham. Loose ball. Picking it up with Shield off his wrong boot, which was his right, to the top of the square. And Durham came over the top to take the mark.
He's a good young player, this guy, Jonesy.
Yeah, I like him. I like his hardness. He has a real go.
Might have hurt his ankle as he landed.
It looks like he might have tweaked something on the landing.
Push through the pain to have the shot for goal. That's one thing that's certain.
You're not giving those ones up.
Just given too easy access to come in from the side and take the mark. Almost at point blank range. About 12 metres out, just away to the left ever so slightly. Durham slots Essendon's third goal. The 20-year-old in his 19th game takes Essendon to 2-4-16 and St Kilda at 2-1-13. Replays which we're watching there for car sales, everything you auto know.
Well, it's a pretty even contest right now. The Saints have gone forward. They've got some big man supremacy. Gresham got a goal at ground level. At the other end, they've been inside forward 59 times at one end of Essendon and 10 times the other way. And it's a pretty even game right now. It's just who can make the most of their opportunities. And I just like the fact that when St Kilda got the ascendancy, the Bombers didn't just drop their bundle. They are in for the fight here tonight. It's going to be a cracking four-quarter game.
He's come off Durham for Spitwater, tough and ready to get some medical attention on that ankle. Essendon by 3. Ryder and Draper eye each other across the centre line. Good straight bounce to work with. Draper up high, wins the tap. Zach Jones ran into Draper as he looked to gather. And they'll do it again.
Well, Stringer just one possession. He's one guy that, be desperate to impose himself. They pushed him up into the stoppage.
Dropped down at the ruckman's feet and no chance to clear it as a result. Caldwell and Gresham, the last men up. Ryder with a cleaner tap this time. Caldwell tackled. Ball spilt the way of Crouch. Hand passed forward of the play. Billings might have been taken high. It's Burns, in fact, who was taken high. So St Kilda's ball in the middle. Burns gets motoring out to the right. He's going to kick it to the hot spot. Marshall was best placed. He couldn't take the mark, and Redmond gathers in defence for the Dons at the back. He pulls the kick boundary side. Wright will gather on the first bounce. He needs a bit of support. Merritt offers that, but he's going backwards to Heppel. Squirts the kick down the line. Caldwell one way, and the other was Perkins, and thankfully Perkins took the mark without any collision between the two.
Peter Wright comes well up the ground to accept the short pass.
They've got Phillips down the line, so they're not devoid of a target.
Bombers by 3 as they play the possession game now. McGrath says go. He handled to Redmond, who fumbled it straight away. Try and recover, but it was a bridge too far for McGrath, who went deeper into trouble.
There.
Oh, it's a free kick against Gresham.
There's one area that Redmond needs to address it, and that's just his ball skills.
Let's have a look. This time he received the handball, kicked to Phillips, didn't mark, kept the ball in front of him, so it's up for grabs on the defensive 50. The hands were good from Hunter Clark. Manganine Miller is able to squirm further clear. Got a handball to Wilkie. You jammed it on the boot, back to the wing. Hind is upended illegally. Free kick to Essendon.
Wasn't a lot in it, but there was enough for the umpire to blow the whistle. And again, the Bombers are just much better than I've seen for a long time, getting some repeat entries into the forward 50. Much better set up. They're following the ball in. They're blocking it in the front half.
Still 5 minutes to go for Makita. Rule the outdoors with Makita in this opening term. Short to Laverty. And then to the top of the square he goes. Draper, Wright and Phillips. So they're fully stocked down there. Neither could take the mark. Wilkie came spinning through. There's a dump, tackle, free kick. And it is going to Essendon. In front of goal.
Throw paid against
throw,
Marshall.
was it?
Yep.
Umpire's signal looked quite vigorous. I thought it was...
They're lining up to get this one laid off from Big Sam Draper, but he's got the confidence. Born of the skills. With the soccer ball, he's going to go back and go bang.
Yeah, replays confirm the throw was from Marshall for car sales. Everything you auto know. So Big Sam Draper in front. Give Essendon fans a bit to get excited about in this game. The lead to be extended to 9 points if he can convert from 15 metres out. And he can. And he does. And the Bombers do lead by 9. With 4 minutes to go in the opening term. at Marvel Stadium. 3-4-22. Plays 2-1-13.
Seat 1A on the bandwagon of the bloke who just kicked the goal, Draper. And I look at that kicking style, Jonesy. He's got the fundamentals. He's just got to be able to do it when he's under pressure, because when it's a closed skill like that and he's controlling it, he's fine.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm sitting right next to you as well. I'm on the bandwagon just as much, and I love him. I think he's a real barometer with the energy he brings and the contest and competitiveness. And he's super passionate the way he plays, and I think that's what draws our attention to him.
Let's see if they can get one out of the centre.
This is 10-2 at the moment for safety. Steel sheds in St Kilda's favour, but the lead is Essendon's by 9 points. At the bounce, Phillips wins the tap. Shield will get first access. He socketed it the wrong way, though. Off the ground goes Hines, so it's reached the broadcast wing. Hand passed it to Merritt, who dropped it. Zach Merritt had it forced from his grasp. Shield gave it to Hine, who came tearing through. He's had 2 bounces. The second was in the tackle.
That's the old KB. You get tackled while it's bounced.
Just didn't need to bounce it.
So Ross wins the holding the ball free kick as a result. He brings it inboard to Crouch and waxes with Ross. Confronted by Wright, so nowhere to go.
It's called adrenaline, Hutto. He was up and about. He just needed to sprint away rather than bounce.
Yeah.
Ross out of half-back for the Saints. He's gone for Marshall. Phillips works him underneath and makes a sufficient spoil to find the boundary.
Yeah, I love what he brings.
What can't go underestimated is, as much as we've sung Essendon's praise defensively, I really like their composure offensively, building the ball up and taking the right option.
Boundary throw in on the broadcast wing. Marshall took it out of the ruck, got it onto his boots. He wobbled it to half forward, but McGrath had position behind Butler, and he takes the mark.
So from defensive 50, wants to run and create by hand off to Laverty, who kicks to the wing to right. Substantial target. Well done, Battle. Made the spoil, then tried to claim the mark. Umpire didn't agree, but he stayed aware and awake. Got the hand pass to Ross, who gave it to Zach Jones, who just squeezed out the barest of handballs to pass muster. And then Crouch gave it to Wanganeen Miller, who really trusted his right foot that time and to good effect. Hill got it to Ross, who worked the ball through the middle. Now Gresham. He goes long to Higgins, who should get there, despite the effort of Hine. Now the umpire said the spoil was okay from Hine.
Unreal effort.
Looked like interference, but great effort if it was okay. And it was ticked off by the umpire. Now Burns scraps hard at left half forward for it for the Saints. Can't break clear. It's still very much up for grabs. Kelly and Heppel added a bit of muscle for the Bombers. Kelly comes away with it, gave the hand pass to on the inboard back to Nick Martin and now to Archie Perkins. Took his time to be composed, kicked it out in front of Guelphy, got the perfect bounce, 45 metres out, has a long shot for goal. It never really threatened as it pushed across the front and was gathered in by Battle, who's been busy so far. He gives it to Howard as they look to turn defence into attack. Can they penetrate the Bombers this time?
Hill sent it to memory, but charging up was Hine fearlessly. He made the spoil. Durham lends a hand and on to Shield inside 50. Sinclair, it carried right and fell short of Stringer, and Sinclair worked the intercept.
Great work off the half-back line, though, behind.
Short to Crouch, risky kick to Gresham. It fell the way of Hill, though, so no damage done, and the Saints progress through the middle. Ross has a bounce, make it 2 to cross halfway. He's got options everywhere. Hand passes to Zach Jones, who missed the baton change, and hacking it off the turf was Butler. It broke down. Durham gave it to McGrath, out the near side to Shield. The Bombers can reset.
Gee, they dodged one there, didn't they? The Bombers, the Shield kicks. He took out the middleman, and Nick Martin's not happy. It comes off hands and goes out of bounds. He had the short pass 35 metres. He went for the tougher kick. Didn't hit the target.
But they're actually butchering opportunities, goal-plated opportunities, the Saints. Poor skills, couple of fumbles. They should have nailed 2 goals out of in the last 3 minutes.
Contested possessions are level. Bombers having more of the footy on the outside from the throw-in on the wing. Draper got the tap. Now it's up for grabs. Good skills from Perkins in tight. Hand pass to Shield to the outside, and then Hobbs under some duress. Merritt didn't take possession, tried to knock it away. Sinclair comes the other way for the Saints. Clamp down was Hill, could have thrown it, went to Clark. It's bobbling around everywhere. Rush kick from Perkins is good. Nick Martin marks it on 50, got himself set from 45 and finishes it off. What a bonus he's been for the Bombers in a year that has delivered so little. Nick Martin showing his nous around the goals and his passion for the footy club as he grabs the Guernsey after delivering Essendon's 4th goal. 4-4-28 to 2-1-13 with 35 seconds remaining.
I think they deserve that goal. They've been so hard, the Bombers, in their defensive elements. Turned the ball over, really just grabbed it back on back half of centre wing. And my favourite, Martin, right now, delivered another goal in his first year. That was a great conversion. They deserved that one. I mean, 4 forwards, 8 scoring shots to 3. They deserve this lead. The Bombers have been the best side on the night to this point.
Dons by 15 on the Tyre Power, your trusted tyre experts scoreboard.
That only would have hit home with about 50% of the audience.
That's all right. You can be Prime Minister with 50%.
At the bounce, Draper and Marshall go to work. Marshall won the tap. Shield, though, onto the footy. Hand pass to Hind, who's been explosive out of half back. He puts it onto the chest of Wright, who wheels onto the right boot from half forward. He's going to lob it for Harrison Jones. 2 against. Wilkie over the top made the spoil. And it's a rush behind to make it 16 points.
I think actually you can be Prime Minister with 35%. Anyway. So I'll run with 50. Really, I mean, everybody here right now knows that the Saints have got the job in front of them. They are red hot. If they can maintain this, it's going to take a big effort by St Kilda to get the 4 points.
Saints on the way out. High ball from Battle, back to the wing where the numbers gather, and Wright puts a fist into it. We've seen Jones, then we've seen Wright get back and help out for the Bombers so far in this game. With that,
bear in mind, one of their best players, Stringer, has yet to have an impact on this game. So there's another lever that they can pull if he's prepared to pull it.
16 points the margin. And the siren sounds to end that entertaining opening term, particularly if you're Ben Rutten and an Essendon supporter. Concerns for the Saints. It's 4-5-29 to 2-1-13 at quarter time on the Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety scoreboard. We'll be going around the grounds tonight for Chemist Warehouse. Great savings every day.
AFL
That quarter on AFL Nation was for McDonald's. Introducing the Australiano.
This is the sound of Julian's bargain price vacuum with deep express suction. This is the sound of Julian trying to fix his bargain price vacuum, which infuriates him deeply. Yes, this is the sound of bargain regret. When it comes to the important stuff, like insurance, don't risk it. Go to Amy instead, who offers great value cover you won't regret. Amy does. Before buying insurance issued by AAI Limited Trading as Amy, read the PDS at amy.com.au. TMD also available.
Sustained performance in footy is more than just one great game. It's about playing consistently, game after game, season after season. Host Plus delivers strong performance over the long term, with top returns over 20 years. A top-performing super fund over the long term, that's a plus.
Super Ratings SR50 Balanced Index, December 2021. General advice only. Consider the relevant Host Plus PDS at TMD at hostplus.com.au before deciding if Host Plus is appropriate for you. Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future performance.
Search, compare Host Plus today.
If you love working outside and the idea of being your own boss excites you, then you may want to listen up. 1300 Temp Fence are looking for subcontractors now. As a 1300 Temp Fence subcontractor, you'll have access to uncapped earning potential and the opportunity to be involved in delivering some of our nation's largest events and major infrastructure projects. To find out more about this unmissable opportunity, apply now at 1300tempfence.com.au.
Whether you Dometic go on a day trip, Dometic go on a camping adventure, or Dometic Go off the grid, the new Dometic Go range fits in the back of your car and makes getting away outdoors effortless. Designed for a grab-and-go adventure, the new collection includes comfortable furniture, stackable hard and soft storage, plus hydration solutions. It's time to Dometic Go on your adventure. Find the Dometic Go range at leading outdoor retailers and Dometic.com.
Hi, I'm Simone Elia from O'Brien Real Estate, Carrum Downs. Find your place with O'Brien. Visit our website for marketplace data and demographics on every suburb.
O'BrienRealEstate.com.au. The difference is our people and local knowledge.
A new era of racing has arrived, and with improved safety, Jumps Racing is bringing the fun back to racing this winter. This week, all eyes turn to Warrnambool. Get set for a fabulous day out for racing enthusiasts with a huge schedule of jumps racing, showcasing some of the country's best jumpers. This Sunday, don't miss all the jumps racing action. You can support jumps racing at australianjumpsracing.com. Check race previews and live calls on the day by listening to the team on SEN Track.
AEG Power Tools goes big this tax time. Like the big value 18-volt 9-piece mega kit. Over $3.5 grand's worth for $1,999. And get a bonus framing nailer kit worth $899. AEG goes big. Available at Bunnings Warehouse. T's and C's apply.
Hi, Jack Viney here, inviting you to virtually light up the night at the Pink Lady match on Thursday, June the 23rd, as we take on the Lions at the MCG. Breast Cancer Network Australia supports the 20,000 people diagnosed with breast cancer every year. You can support them too by buying a tax-deductible virtual place to help light up the Pink Lady. So, go to pinkladymatch.com.au and stand virtually with the D's on the G.
Installerine, Installerine, Installerine.
For the hottest of hot party you've ever seen. Ream comes on steady, hot and strong. It just keeps on and on.
Ask your plumber about Ream's advanced stainless steel water heaters with 12-year cylinder warranties.
Installerine.
Accept nothing less than Australia's best.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation. For Beaumont Tiles, hybrid flooring in store now. Macca's I'm Loving It Moments. The Australiano, made with McCafe coffee, chai and native Australian wattle seed.
Under pressure and forced further back. Gresham's going to kick. Risky. Wright got himself into the top spot. Knocked it down and Jones snaps the goal.
King is the target. 3 Bombers make the spoil. Gresham. It fell for him perfectly. 35 metres out is the equation. Just away to the left ever so slightly. Not an issue for Max King. He puts up his first of the night. Nick Martin marks it on 50. Got himself set from 45 and finishes it off.
Essendon by 16. I'm Loving It moments for Macca's, the Australiano, made with McCafe coffee, chai and native Australian wattle seed. Jared Healy, Nathan Jones.
Jonesy, we came here looking at two sides that are poor, taking the ball from deep 50 to their forward 50. One of them is Essendon. They're the worst in the competition at 18th. Last week against Carlton, Carlton went from the back 50 to the forward 50 every second time, 53%. Tonight, St Kilda have gone less than 1 in 5. It's at 18%. That is a massive tick. I mean, you can talk about individuals, but you win a game collectively, and that collective, if they can maintain that, you can tick down the 4 points right now.
I think you cannot question they signalled their intent from the moment the ball was bounced, and they've executed. They all look on the same page, both offensively and defensively, and it's a stark difference to the Essendon we've seen for all of this season.
Front half turnovers are completely in favour of the Bombers. Have done everything right. Big challenge now for the Saints.
Opening bounce of the second term for Tyre Power, your match day favourites for tyre safety. Sam Durham went down to the rooms at the quarter time break. Ryder down to Gresham, bounces the ball forward, well gathered by Burns. He was full throttle going the wrong way though. Hand passes to Ross, kicked it out to the wing. Billings was dragged down by Heppel. So the Saints have it on the broadcast wing. Sinclair runs around to receive. Billings wasn't inclined to give it. He takes off instead and kicks it very wide up to the 50. King flew, couldn't take the mark. He was unopposed. It fell out of his grasp.
That's a hell of a kick and a really poor mark in the end. I think Max was expecting some contact. It's pretty impossible to believe he didn't get any, but he didn't time it well, but it was superb, that kick.
50 out from the St Kilda goal. Ryder shoulder to shoulder with Phillips. Ryder's got first play. Ball is in and underneath. Nick Martin was tackled once he picked it up. And we'll reset and try again.
The Saints have got the extra behind the ball in Brad Hill.
Ryder knocks it out to the side. Hunter Clark just missed his foot as he had a quick fling at it. Heppel tried to muscle his way through. It was a handoff to Heppel, but then a dumping tackle. I don't know what the umpire paid there, but he's paid it to Long. He signalled the throw to turf. Long sets St Kilda up to full forward, knocked away by Phillips. King plays Crummer, feeds it into the pocket. Billings outside of the boot. How about that for a kick? from in the pocket, not much daylight, perfect curl. A goal of the game for Host Plus, that's a plus.
Well, it was one of the goals of the day. Not the goal of the day, sorry, Jared.
That's a good return for Billings.
It's a beauty. He's played particularly well, and that is a class goal, Jonesy. I didn't see the free kick, but it doesn't matter. It was a ball that was just squirted out to him under pressure. He's picked it up, kicked at the same time. It's going to be hard to beat that one for goal of the day.
I loved King's ability to be able to keep his hands free and feed that out as well. Underestimated in the brilliance of the finish, but so important to creating that opportunity.
Billings trying to ignite the crowd and get them to share the celebration, try to get the Saints going. They have the first of the second quarter, and the margin is back to 10 points. Perfect bounce from Brett Roseberry. Up goes Phillips, whacks it down to Shield, who can't escape. Instead, Hunter Clark dug in for the Saints, got a loose handball away. It's hacked forward by Hyde and pitched all right for Martin, who gave it to Heppel, who's given them some run out of defence. Through the circles he goes. Good looking kick, just going to bounce in front of Wright, but it wasn't a bad bounce. He tries to wind his way through. In the end, he had to cop up a handball. Gave it to Stringer onto the boot quickly. First identifying where it was going to drop with Battle, but his kick wasn't great. He got helped out by Billings, who reached over Martin to take the mark.
Good rebound into that forward 50, again coming off the back of Hind, who's intercepted a number of times.
Off the left-booted Billings, right at time his leap, couldn't mark over Phillips, goes to the front, plenty of numbers around the ball. Hunter Clark got it out blindly because it went straight to Heppel, who handballed to Stringer, can't get the run of it, did knock it on, did get it back, he's straddling the boundary, then he's tackled, he dropped it, play on, call, ball, a snap, top of the goal square, plenty of chaos, keeping a cool head was Howard. A handball to Burns, who enlists Wilkie on that last line of defence. A moment of hesitation, but space to run into and then through, and kicks to Wanganeen Miller, who left, didn't mark it, but got to his own advantage. Tried to turn the Bombers inside out, and so did Burns. Had Ham in a spin, and he does escape. Kicks the Saints to half forward as Butler takes the mark. He pauses, and now he goes.
He rushed out onto the right boot. He was a bit unsettled when he kicked, and it flopped in short. And Kelly works the interception. He's quick with his hand pass to Hind, who's been prolific. This is not a great kick, though. Clark cut it off. Hand pass to Wright, and the Saints will get it forward. Membry's coming from a long way back. Made the spoil against Ridley. They go to work at ground level. Ridley held Membry up well till the reinforcements arrived. Heppel to Hind. Across the face of goal. He's kicked it well. And Redmond is the outlet.
He is. He kicks further along the wing. It was a high ball, but Ham just got there before Wilkie could disrupt. Quick thinking, a handball to Martin, and send the Bombers to Shield, who can power on with one bounce. Makes it a second, and now a third. Gathering a full head of steam. He misfires slightly. Somehow it bounced through to Stringer. Took a while. Shield kept on running. Received the handball on the wrong side. Couldn't connect with Guelphy. There was style. There was errors. Now Guelphy picks it up. It's all about the finish. And the finish is the perfect answer to Billings from the other end. He puts it through with the banana, and now the Bombers get their first of the second quarter. An imperfect play, but it had a great finish. 5-5-35 after Guelphy's first. The Saints are 3-1-19.
Once again, D50 to forward 50. It was Hind's long kick to the outside of the ground, Jonesy, and then great transition. It's almost impossible to believe this is the same side we watched try to move the ball last week.
They've been so good at it. It's been their ability to be able to absorb the pressure, find a mark. Hind has been absolutely prolific. He's been everywhere. His ability to mop up at ground level and create offensive chains. It was an amazing effort down that half-forward flank wing area by Shield as well. It was a power running effort.
That's why they gave up 2 first-round picks, wasn't it?
That's right.
What it could be.
Essendon by 16 for Maccas, introducing the Australiano. Wonky bounce in the middle will be recalled. She's just tagged out for the moment.
I think they thought there was a right foot included in that package. There wasn't then.
Having a breather. When there was a bit of interference, it's a secured free kick, and Gresham never hesitated. He pops it in deep, overkicked Marshall. Kelly made the spoil, has to be one at ground level. Crouch overran it initially. Caldwell might have been taken high, or Arsenal got pushed in the back. So D'Ambrosio will take the free kick.
impressed with that with Nick Martin, Jones. He's a good winner, but he's a good user. He makes good decisions. A young bloke in his first year.
Ambrosio floated it a long way, hoping for Kelly. Lending a hand to get it to him was Ham. He spreads it forward to the players. The Bombers look to attack. Perkins pumps it in deep. Right flies, so too did Jones. They fight for it underneath. Wilkie got rounded up. The umpire will see it as a ball.
It's Essendon's ability to be able to continue to execute the fundamentals. They continue to catch the Saints on the hop on offensive transition, creating the overlap.
Bombers deep forward, Ryder tapped it boundary side. Hill and Wanganeen Miller were there, but they got beaten to it. Caldwell to Ham. Back to the teeth of goal, knocked away from Stringer, who's trying to get busy. Hobbs is caught over the footy. Umpire takes pity, and he's going to ball it up.
An interesting battle with Hunter Clark and Stringer. Hunter Clark was out on his feet. He just hung on.
Up in the pocket. Tap from Ryder, grabbed by Caldwell. Heaved it on the left boot. Goes super high. Doesn't gain much distance. Whacked away by Wilkie towards the line. Picked up by Webster under immediate pressure. His kick partially smothered. Loose ball to be won. Perkins assured with the handball. Under pressure, Hobbs tackled, stripped of it. Play on, Ryder's turn. Next to be pounced upon, and he was pinged. He held it longer, and when the tackle came, he had no answers, and he's dropped the football.
Front half pressure is just superb right now. It's a big difference between the two. Their pressure right around the ground, Jonesy, would be at their season's high.
Perkins did the tackling. Now he's got to edge around on the snap, set shot from 40 metres out, and gets there. Just cleared the waiting pack, opened up the goal angle, it came curling back, and Essendon's sixth goal is kicked by Archie Perkins. And this is the best football Essendon have played, I suspect, for the year over a period of time. 6-5-41 to 3-1-19. And all the numbers are for Safety Steel Sheds. And the scoreboard is for Macca's introducing the Australiana.
Well, they're getting great work from the back line. Redmond, Heppel, Hine, really doing good football, really doing great things across the back half. But in the forward half, they're not being let down. The pressure up there is absolutely extreme, and it's unstabilising or destabilising the St Kilda forwards and defenders, I should say.
The St Kilda game is for Holmes Glen. Study sports and events with the Saints at Holmes Glen. 22-point margin. Bombers will win the centre clearance. Caldwell got under a rainmaker. It lands in front of Stringer. He gathered on the bounce. There's a whistle.
Got a free kick over the shoulder. And he's within kicking distance. This is troubling times here for St Kilda.
He kicks this will light them up even more.
Jake Stringer's going to give himself the longest of run-ups, impersonating Ben Brown. Start nearly back on the wing.
Brett Bratton's face says it all at the moment.
Level of exasperation. The footy is with Jake Stringer. He's trying to will himself into it from 53 out. It's near side as he went for maximum power. Lost direction. It's a 23-point lead on the Macca's scoreboard, introducing the Australiana.
They're actually the 100 right now, the Saints, as they expected they would be, but they're just not coping with the pressure that's being brought to bear. They're going to turn it around in a hurry. Got to start hunting the ball and hunting the man.
They placed it into Howard, who put himself under pressure with the kick that he took on. There was no dramas. He hit Jones. He was able to link up with Webster. So they've switched now to go searching for an answer along that City side. That little step in and then step out from Jones, and he connects with King.
Clever play in the end.
Yeah, about as far away from home as you'd like him to venture. Marks just, and then kicks up to the wing, and that D'Ambrosio it was who fell back into the flight, the oncoming traffic, and took the mark.
Well, their entries into the forward line, or the forward half for that matter, have just been intercepted on so many occasions.
Learning a few credits with the Bomber fans as they work their way back to this dockside. McGrath, an aggressive long kick to Durham.
A bit stiff there. They had the extra man. It was going to be Chinese checkers to the goal mouth, but it ends up on the backside of the wing.
What was so pleasing in that last passage of play was Essendon's ability to slide across and close the outlet, forcing the Saints wide. King up the wing, marking the ball so far from home.
Saints at left half forward in urgent need of a goal. Caldwell got it from the throw in though. Spread it to Durham. Having a hand in it was Laverde, and now to Ambrosio, who kicks it out the far side. Ham takes the mark. The Bombers are charging forward. Ham holds it up for longer than ideally you would have liked. Now he pumps it in deep, right, trying to position himself. Howard did well. Battle kept it away, but the crump fell to Perkins. Hand passed it in the stringer direction. He got a bad bounce, and Sinclair is onto it in defence. Shares it around with Howard, and then to Wilkie, who's careful with the kick to Burns. And he will get a 50-metre penalty because Ham moved after he'd been told to stand.
You said Burns was being prolific earlier. He is one of the few Saints that's earning his packet at the moment.
Gresham paces out of defence with a couple of bounces and the longest of kicks. Well directed to Max King, and with King out there, they'll remain a threat in this game if they can just get some connection.
That's the issue, Otto. They just aren't. They haven't been able to get it to King often enough when he's been one out. He's in great form. This tells it all. One out. He actually murdered Laverde then.
Laverde saying that his jumper was tugged vigorously by King. The umpire doesn't want to know about it. King only wants to know about one thing. That's the goals that are 45 metres away. It'll take a kick which he can't produce across the face of Bruce. Marshall didn't mark. Left it there for Ridley to bang away for the Bombers. Phillips came to compete against three in the air. The numbers prevail for the Saints. Wilkie a handball. Gresham tried to get past Perkins and failed miserably.
Once again, the pressure in that back half. He's got the turnover and it's charge of the Bombers.
Perkins' eyes light up. You could see them spreading out across the ground.
Oh, yeah, far.
He went short across to Kelly and then to Redmond, then to D'Ambrosio. Forward to the wing, a fumble from Ham. He tried to rectify by tackling, but like more like Jimmy Cracker than anyone else. Got it up to Sinclair. Higgins has found himself 20 metres of space. He takes the mark. The double bluff from King, but he was bluffed. The kicker was bluffed himself. King was on his own in the goal square and he couldn't find him, and in the end it's going to be a ball up as the whole thing fell apart.
Well, it should have been at the other end of the ground, but Redmond's just going so fast, he's not computing well enough, often enough.
Bombers have numbers around the stoppage. Hines sweeps a hand pass away to Heppel and then to Shield, who'll clear the defensive area. The Saints were pretty well set. Burns dropped the mark. Sinclair was loose with the hand pass, and so the repeat entry doesn't eventuate. It's out of play.
The Saints have really got to lift their effort post-clearance, post-contest. The loose ball, uncontested change that the Bombers are able to create from those situations is really cutting them up at the minute.
Boundary throw in for Spitwater, tough and ready. Shield through the stoppage, wins it decisively. Hand pass to Perkins, stood in the tackle, gave it off to Caldwell. And now to Heppel. He feeds it forward to the play to Martin. Has a look inside 50. Didn't do Harrison Jones any favours. He sat it there to be intercepted. And Membry is now working down in defence.
Well, it's the danger sign. If in doubt, break glass and put Membry behind the ball.
Membry to Wilkie to Billings. And it's because they're 23 points down to the Saints. And Billings has kicked it out on the full.
Such a sloppy kick for the circumstances.
Shield brings it in. Laverde with footy in hand. There's two kicks out from goal. He's going to venture the first and land it 25 metres out. Harrison Jones front position. Membry, though, stood his ground in the pack and intercepts again.
So Membry has it on the last line. 42 Essendon, 19 St Kilda. On the Macca's scoreboard, introducing the Australiana. Midpoint of quarter number 2 on a Friday night. He sends it along the wing. King didn't quite get his marking timing right that time. Grabbed by Laverde, rushed handball to Ridley under immediate pressure. Billings went along for the ride with a tackle joined by Butler. In the end, it's holding the ball. They work well in tandem. Free kick to Billings. Left half back, sends St Kilda up along the dockside. Redmond read it really well. He came to the assistance of Kelly, but Kelly had mauled King. And so the free kick is going to Max King.
I'm not sure that needed to be done, Jonesy. It's just bullet a gate stuff and no poise whatsoever.
King takes the kick. Plenty of special comments coming from the crowd. A long kick, 4 Bombers line up to spoil. Hine try to take on the tackle, and he will pay a heavy price 30 metres out from goal. And really, he didn't have prior opportunity, but because he tried to break the tackle, that's all this encouragement the umpire needed to blow the whistle. Ben Long was the successful tackle.
struggle with that interpretation.
That's the way they always play.
Ultra stiff.
Try and beat the tackle with your
But
hand.
he's actually trying to get some oxygen.
Yeah,
He's got his head down. He comes up looking for air. Bang! He gets hit.
And now Long to convert. That's a lazy kick. He leans back on it. Pays the consequences, or suffers the consequences. It's a behind away to the right. Saints 3-2-20. Bombers bring the ball back into play. 6-6-42. Macca's introducing the Australian.
Ridley to Kelly, and now up to D'Ambrosio.
So with Membry behind the ball, it's going to allow the Bombers an extra up this end of the field, and at the minute they're hot enough to continue to find it. It looks again they're going to create the overlap.
Switch back the near side. Hine to Redmond, and now to Hobbs, who was unmanned on the broadcast wing. He's kicked backwards inside the centre square to McGrath.
Good decision that time by Redmond, and great execution.
Sideways to Hine, so they couldn't get the fast break footy, the Bombers, on this occasion. Hines guides his kick down the wing. Martin.
He's good, this kid.
Yes, lovely skills.
His Hines working hard, really hard.
Hobbs is on 25 metres further up the field. He might have given it to Hines.
Could have given it to Hines.
Balked the hand pass, and instead it's a stationary play.
Still there, Hines.
Hobbs is going to lob it up to the top of the square. Harrison Jones should have marked. He got there unopposed. He dropped it. Draper snaps out of the pack. It'll land in the square. Phillips and Ryder underneath. Wright tried to throw a boot at it. Wilkie socketed through for the conceded score. Essendon by 23 for Macca's, introducing the Australian.
So if Hobbs gives it to Hines, Hines is running in. There's some movement. And a worst case scenario, he gets it to 10 metres out, not in the turnover position.
Hill takes the conservative route in, gives it to Wilkie, who can dash and then kick to the wing. Draper pleads his innocence as he knocked him over as he kicked. Ridley gave the Bombers a chop out with a spoil, straight out of bounds.
The Membry ploy is to stop the bleeding, but ultimately the Saints are going to have to get their ability to be able to close outlets and create source pressure from around the contest if they're wanting to get back in this game.
Ethan Jones for Shaw, uniform experts from the throw-in. Durham wins it for the Bombers, so they're going in again. Via a handball to Hobbs and the left foot of Shield. Saints should be able to spoil at the very least, and Membry did better than that. He juggled another intercept mark.
Yeah, it certainly worked, this move. Membry to the back half, it saved them.
They are spending a lot of time in the Essendon front half.
Wanganeen Miller, it was a challenging kick. He got it somehow to Crouch, who gave up a lot of the territory game. Hand pass to Hill. It's clean to Wanganeen Miller. So they've reached the half back, but the problem with Membry behind the ball is just the lack of clear way forward for them. He's going to go right back to Membry. He's in a centre back position between full back and centre half. Takes the mark and he kicks quickly. So there is some possibilities on the outer side. Battle goes short to Patton. Back through the middle to Webster. They still haven't reached the centre circle yet. They might come back. No, it's a better line of attack this time to Crouch. Forward to the centre now. Still no obvious option. Bombers have got most of their troops back quite deep. The kick from Crouch, about a mid-kick. There's three Bombers that could spoil. Laverty flew in front, grabbed by Redmond. A hand pass to D'Ambrosio. Off to Heppel, had time to assess off the left boot. Here comes Battle to try and stop Wright, and he did well enough, knocked it out of bounds.
What I like about Essendon's defensive work is so often they've made St Kilda kick long to either King or Ryder or a combination of both. And that's so predictable that Essendon are getting their numbers down there and either punching it away and taking it away or intercept the mark.
Throw in right half forward for the Saints. D'Ambrosio gets hold of it, hand passes it to Merritt, running the wrong way. Pauses, turns, misses Phillips with the kick. So will it turn over? Patton, he gave it straight back to Phillips with a terrible hand pass, but Membry, fourth time in the past 10 minutes, repels at half back. He works it around to Ross. He brings the Saints to centre half back through Webster. Stringer trying desperately to get back onto the field from the interchange gates for Terrador by New Farm Spike herbicide. Short kick to Hill, who'll bring it to the near side. Wanganeen Miller let it land. It bounced up neatly for him. He places it over the top to Burns.
It's the best defensive effort we've seen from Essendon for probably 2 years.
Now well set inside St Kilda's 50, so it's a kick to a contest. Marshall worked underneath it by Laverty, who takes the intercept mark, and he spreads play quickly. Merritt to D'Ambrosio, kicked into the centre square for Howe. He'll turn, look up. Hobbs was on momentarily, but he sags the hand pass out to Shield instead. Goes on a slow bouncing run. And kicks out particularly wide for Heppel.
Smart play this time by Essendon. They know there's the extra man behind it. They didn't blaze away and go fast. They made the right decision and they're trying to work their way through.
And they're playing with the angles back the near side. Redmond, Ridley and Laverty all involved. Laverty plays on and punches the kick to right half forward. Mark is taken and distributed well. Durham off to Martin. Kicks to the teeth of goal. Up went Stringer back into the fray. Couldn't mark. Ross found a way through in defence. Hand pass to Patton goes backward to Sinclair. So they're going to have to come off the very last long.
Durham missed a trick there. They had big Sam Draper on his own. He ignored him and went for Parrish.
The pop kick is okay on the way out to Hill. Who looked ahead, didn't like anything on the horizon, plays it sideways instead to buy a bit more time for Wilkie. Under 4 minutes remaining in a low-scoring second quarter. 2-2 to 1-1 for the term. 6-7 to 3-2 in favour of the Dons overall. Sinclair a handball to Hill, who kept on coming. At centre half back, he has a bounce and reaches full stride. Shared the love with Gresham by hand, who gave it back. They're forward to the centre now. It's a hack kick. It's going to require some skill, which wasn't apparent. McGrath dropped the ball. Grabbed by Butler. D'Ambrosio held him up in his tracks. He went down on his knees. They stalled. The handball to Butler. Now there's an opening. His kick wasn't perfect. And that just about sums up the Saints tonight as it comes off hands. King couldn't take the mark. It's through for a rushed behind. 3-3-21 St Kilda, 6-7-43 the Bombers. On the Macca's scoreboard.
Penetrating kick in, finds Perkins, opens up some possibilities. Right leads up to the wing, marks, wheels and goes. Stringer's got a one-on-one with Webster. Stringer flies, Webster spoils. Sinclair's the third man in. He lent a hand well. Hand pass to Webster. Gives it to Zach Jones and off to Hill as the Saints out of half-back. On to Sinclair, up now to Gresham. Had to get rid of it in a hurry as the pressure bore down. Crouch and Ross, they're overwhelmed by the pressure. Shield lays the winning tackle. It had to be holding the ball. It wasn't paid. Ridiculous stuff. Billings to Zach Jones as a result. Heel kick to a one-on-one. Higgins and McGrath. McGrath, the footy goes intervene. He takes the mark at fullback.
Great mark and now he escapes. Heads out to the city wing. Good challenge in the air between Billings and Heppel. It's kept in by the Essendon captain. He had back up Ridley. Made all the right moves to get himself clear. Finds Redmond, who spots Martin through the centre. Nick Martin for Essendon. The blonde head of Guelphy is on the horizon. He kicks it wide to him. He'll mark it half forward. He holds and then gives to Durham, who takes it on the 50. Doesn't blaze away. Can they finally get a deep mark? They can! And it's Peter Wright, all 2 metres of him, who takes the mark.
Wow. Their defence is just fueling their opportunities on offence, and you can see them running on top of the ground. It's inspiring to watch, really. Yeah. It's such a different team.
Well, Daniel and Syracuse gave us a bit of a glimpse of what their mode would be tonight. He wanted them to attack more from half back. And they've lived that and then some. Their conversion hasn't been perfect. Peter Wright's missed 2. He doesn't miss this one. From close range, 25 metres out, he emphatically splits the middle. And the Bombers fans would be delighted. So would Ben Rutten. 7-7-49. A very disappointed St Kilda coach. Brett Ratton, 3-3-21 is the score. The difference is a 28-point margin. Macca's the Australiano made with McCafe coffee, chai and native Australian water seed.
And this has been such a high-energy half of footy, Jonesy. They have gone from back half to front half to back half to front half. An incredible amount of energy has been expended by the Bombers. And they're 7-7. St Kilda have sort of been hanging on. They can't get near them. And I'm not sure they've got the juice right now. They're going to have to go to the Bowser at half-time.
A play of the day, visit mildura.com.au. Draper flew hard at the footy, but Zach Jones repelled. Gives it off to Crouch and Sinclair out of half-back. He prods it out to the near wing. Manganine Miller takes the mark. He's stepped and he's been asked to play on. He wrong foots Durham ahead of him and opens the way. Wanganeen Miller kicks it particularly wide though. And Laverty was favoured in flights.
Playing so predictably. Essendon have got their numbers back. And they won't give the handball to Hill that was sitting there to get the overlap and get it in deeper.
30 seconds left in the half on the Makita clock. Long down the line. Ryder takes the mark. So the Saints would dearly love to peg one back on the way to the main break. The kick is in the King direction. He's drawn a crowd. And it is pulled away by Ridley on this occasion.
So lazy this for St Kilda. It's no creativity, no one running from behind. It's just get it, kick it long.
Durham combines with Caldwell and now to Hind, and the siren beats the bouncing run out of half-back. Essendon with a stirring half. 7-7-49. They lead St Kilda 3-3-21 on the Macca's scoreboard, introducing the Australiano. Nathan Jones, give us a quick thought as we reach the main break.
Well, the Bombers are a different team. I've watched a lot of them this year, and this is the absolute blueprint, really, in terms of the future of their footy club and the direction this team wants to go. And it's built off the effort and intent and fundamental execution of the basics of the game tonight. And they're doing it at such a high level. And you can just see this is modern footy played at its best, as far as a team united around defensive footy that then fuels offensive opportunities. And if you've got the mind and the understanding of the situation of the game, it can be beautiful to watch, and they'd be enthralling all their fans at this point with the standard of footy they've played tonight.
The goal kickers to half-time, they're all singles. Draper, Perkins, Wrights, Durham, Harrison Jones, Guelphy and Martin, while for St Kilda it's Gresham, King and Billings. Essendon by 28 points on the Macca's scoreboard, introducing the Australiano. 7-7-49 to St Kilda, 3-3-21. Half-time on AFL Nation this Friday night.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for McDonald's, introducing the Australiano.
Every year, we help thousands of people like you control their gambling. So, we get that every story is different. We get there might be setbacks along the way. We get that you might need lots of support or just the odd call. To change the way you think about gambling, call someone who gets it. Call Gamblers Help on 1-800-858-858 or visit the Gamblers Help website.
G'day, it's Gazy here. Are you an Aussie maker or grower exporting Aussie product around the world? To succeed internationally, you need to be strategic, be agile, and be ready to work as a team to get the win. So, for your best shot when exporting overseas, join Team Australian Made. Make the Aussie connection instantly and clearly with the highly trusted green and gold kangaroo logo. Apply now. Visit australianmade.com.au/export.
Imagine the thought of innovation at your fingertips, accelerating with efficiency and power. Imagine a bold, striking design with the comfort and confidence of advanced safety tech. Imagine where you could go in a Hyundai SUV. An SUV range with enough style, tech and performance to turn your imagination into reality. So if you're thinking SUV, think Hyundai SUV. Discover yours at hyundai.com.au.
When there's a live sport around Australia, SEN will be there, bringing you all the big moments. When our SEN commentary team travels, they travel with Samsonite. Innovative travel and business solutions. Get around Australia with Samsonite. Expect innovation. Samsonite.com.au.
Join the Melbourne Storm tonight, back at Amy Park. Don't miss the blockbuster clash against the Broncos, kick-off from 7:55pm. Get your game night tickets now at Ticketek or melbournestorm.com.au.
They say every lawn is different, and that's true. But for landscapers, the solution is always the same. Install Rainbird. Backed by 80 years of irrigation innovation, easy to use with a massive range suitable for any job. From Tom's backyard to your local golf course to the MCG itself. So while every lawn is different, installing Rainbird gives you the same green results every time. Rainbird, the intelligent use of water. Learn more at rainbird.com.
Hi,
I'm Charlie from Red Energy. The Australian-made logo is a true mark of Australian authenticity. So, for Red Energy to be certified to use the famous green and gold Australian-made logo, well, it's fair to say it's something we're pretty proud of. Here at Red, we're owned by the mighty Snowy Hydro, and that makes us 100% Australian. We're also based right here in Melbourne, so you can speak with a local who understands your needs. So, if supporting Australian means something to you, switch to Red today. Call 131 806.
Safety Steel, time to get real.
Tim Watson here. Can you remember as a kid painting goals on the side of your dad's shed and shooting for goals day after day? Well, they built them tough back then, just like the sheds from Safety Steel. For prefab steel kit buildings and custom designed sheds that are tough and durable, search Shady Creek Engineering, located in Warwick. For your dream shed, search Safety Steel.
Safety Steel, time to get real.
For logbook servicing you can rely on, you need to make the right choice. You need trained professionals who use the latest equipment, the right quality parts, and are fully qualified to service your car according to manufacturer's specifications. At your local Repco authorised service centre, you get all this plus the reassurance of a nationwide warranty that's backed by the biggest name in the business. For real peace of mind, trust the experience and knowledge of your local Repco authorised service centre. Book in or book online at repcoservice.com.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now. Macca's I'm Loving It Moments. The Australiano, made with McCafe coffee, chai and native Australian wattle seed.
King plays Crummer, feeds it into the pocket. Billings outside of the boot. How about that for a kick?
Now Guelphy picks it up. It's all about the finish, and the finish is the perfect answer to Billings from the other end. Perkins on the snap, set shot from 40 metres out, and gets there. Just cleared the waiting pack. He holds and then gives to Durham, who takes it on the 50, doesn't blaze away. Can they finally get a deep mark? They can! And it's Peter Wright. The conversion hasn't been perfect. Peter Wright's missed two. He doesn't miss this one.
Essendon by 28 points at half-time, 7-7-49 to St Kilda 3-3-21. I'm Loving It Moments for Macca's, the Australiano, made with McCafe coffee, chai and native Australian wattle seed. It is Spud's game. We're all here to support the legacy of Danny Frawley. His daughter Chelsea is with us in the AFL Nation box. Chelsea, great to see you.
Good to see you too, Jared.
How big a night is it for the family?
It's a pretty big night. It's been a big few weeks leading into the game. It's always bittersweet. We're really, really proud of the legacy he has left behind, but obviously it does come with a bit of sadness as well.
How do you combat that together? Do you have your private moments as well as there are public demands, aren't there, at a time like this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think next week we'll bunker down and kind of recuperate and reflect on the amazing things that he has achieved even since his passing. I think, we're just so proud of him.
The beautiful ceremony at the start, Tim Watson and Nathan Burke picked up the mantle this year. They were lovely words that were said.
They were awesome. Berkey did an amazing job. He's one of Dad's best mates. I think he really honoured the legacy there, and what Tim Watson was awesome too.
All that's been missing so far is the Saints, Chelsea.
Yes, absolutely. Hopefully we do get the win by the end of the game.
So to those who are listening who would like to support, it's the chance to buy virtual footies, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the Danny Frawley Centre opening in March this year, we're looking to raise as much funds as we can through buying a virtual footy. You can go to movember.com/spud, and all funds will go to community programs run out of the centre.
Just give us a quick snapshot of the work the centre is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. We've just kind of rallied the team at the moment. We're working through the strategy, but we're looking to kind of work in the mental fitness space, being able to work on that really early intervention to try and build mental fitness within the community so they can cope with day-to-day stresses.
Chelsea, love to the family. Thanks for stopping by tonight.
Thanks so much, Jared. Go Saints.
Chelsea Frawley with me in the box. At movember.com/spud to buy one of the virtual footies. At halftime, Essendon by 28 points. Let's get into the halftime floor show for Choices Flooring. See your floor change in an instant with Roomview.
The Choices Flooring halftime floor show. Check out Choices Flooring's Roomview program.
So Essendon, in a mode that we really haven't seen them so far this season. I'll give you a picture of the stats so far. Individually, Mason Redman has had 17 out of halfback and Nick Hind has had 16. That's the drive. And Dyson Heppel, 15. That's the drive that Nathan Jones has been telling you about. And Dylan Shield has continued his form from last week in the midfield with 17 disposals thus far. And they were beaten in clearance early, Nathan, but they've been good around the footy. But it's the explosive run out of halfback that you've referenced a couple of times that's separated the game thus far.
Absolutely. And to their credit, they've levelled up that area of the game. The clearances are 15 to 14 St Kilda's way, 6-5 centre clearance. And St Kilda early days had absolute dominance in that phase of the game, but Essendon have resurrected that area, and that's only further fueled their ability to be able to create opportunities through offence and now their ability to win contests. So they could not have played. I don't think I've seen them play better. And Jared said earlier, quite possibly their best defensive half of footy in the last 2 years. And watching from above, it's nothing special. It's an intent from the guys that are around the footy to get up with speed and get in their face and put pressure on and create sort of delay to allow guys up the ground to then squeeze up and close any options as far as a kicking outlet. And then when St Kilda do take that option, then their ability just to get a fist in and get the ball on the ground. And they've been able to just execute these fundamental basics from a defensive side of the game that's then fueled these awesome offensive opportunities where they've got the guys that you mentioned that are racking the ball and creating rebound off halfback. And all night they've been able to take the ball out the open side, create overlapping and catch St Kilda on the hop. And Essendon couldn't put a foot wrong right now. And I think the Saints really, they stem the bleeding with the Membry move behind the footy. But ultimately they're going to have to come up with an answer to Essendon's ability to be able to whip the ball away and create uncontested change from these contest situations.
The stats wrap for Safety Steel Sheds designed to save, built to last is Membry. Going back was the Australian-made smart player. It's important to buy Australian right now because, I mean, I don't know whether they're out of it at 28 points, but they would have been. Those 4 intercept marks, 3 of them were in positions that were goal-scoring. Support Aussie-made products. Got a play of the day for Mildura Regional Development. Visit mildura.com.au.
Well, it wasn't the prettiest, but I loved the Shield run down the far wing. And it was a beautiful sort of overlap that they created from deep in the back pocket. And if he had been able to finish on his right foot, it would have been the goal of the game. But ultimately, they got it into, I can't remember whose hands it was, but it was a nice
Guelphy,
little...
wasn't it?
Guelphy, yeah, with a nice little boomerang from the pocket just to finish.
Amy Clanger, who covers clangers? Amy does.
Well, I reckon the clanger was McGrath, who dropped the ball at the other end of the ground when he was in a one-off battle, and it finished with his opponent who doubled up on that clanger and didn't score a goal. McGrath came back and had a clanger for good with a mark just after that, so he made up for it.
Player of the day so far for Whirlpool, designed for the environment.
Yeah, it's a tough one. There's a few. It's got to be between Hind and Shield for mine.
You reckon Redmond as well? I know I focused on one of his turnovers, but geez, he's been good. He's come off that back line many times. Got a bit over-revved a couple of times. But he's been good as well.
MEGT Rookie of the Day. MEGT, your local apprenticeship experts. Call 13 MEGT today. Nick Martin.
I'm a Martin fan. I don't see him make mistakes, and I see him win balls and make good decisions.
MEGT, your local apprenticeship experts. The injury update for sports.com.au. Sam Durham had time down in the rooms after he took a lovely high mark, landed awkwardly, hurt his ankle. He was off during the quarter-time break, but he has returned to the field of play.
I think Brett Ratton's the most injured at the present time.
Yes, he might be. Most improved player for Valvoline. Which oil keeps your business moving? Valvoline.
I think it's Hind. I know he had a good year last year, or was it the year before? And then he fell off the pack and struggled to get his way in the side this year. but he's worked his way back in. He was good last week, and he's really good this week.
Valvoline, the original engine oil. The unmissable moments were before the opening siren. For Drinkwise, choose to Drinkwise. Tim Watson and Nathan Burke with inspiring words to honour Spud's game. We will give you scores from around the grounds for Chemist Warehouse. Great savings every day. And our travel partner for AFL Nation is Samsonite, innovative travel and business solutions. The halftime floor show with Essendon 28-point leaders, thanks to Choices Flooring.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
Looking to roll some healthy, tasty goodness into your day? Eat good, feel good with rolled Vietnamese. Lunch, dinner, or a fast feed after training, Rolled has the healthy meal you crave. Barbecue chicken and lemongrass beef rice paper rolls, hot pho noodle soups, crunchy banh mi baguettes. Freshly made in-store every day. From our family to yours. Download the Rolled app, order now. Rolled. Fast, fresh, Vietnamese.
Get the power of safer tyres before you go on holidays. A road safety message from Tyre Power.
Correct tyre inflation is the single most important part of tyre care. It helps keep them in good condition to provide optimum performance and maximum life. The best thing you can do before a long journey is check your tyre pressure and top them up with air if needed. And don't forget to check the spare tyre too.
Get the power of expert advice. Get the power of Australia's biggest independent. Visit tyrepower.com.au for your local owner operator.
From first-time browsing to big-time arousing, Sexyland is all about fun. We have Australia's biggest range of sexy costumes, couples' toys, fun gifts and games for adults. And our team of fun specialists are always here to help in-store and online. Sexyland 11 stores open 7 days until midnight in Melbourne and Geelong, or shop online and get 2-hour delivery.
Take me now, I'm coming. Take me now, Sexyland.
Sheds come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, but if you're after a shed, go and have a word with the family-owned team at Best Sheds, because right now you'll get 10% off the sheds at Best Sheds. Plus, all their sheds come with a 20-year manufacturer's warranty, and you can choose from the standard range or customise the shed of your dreams. Hit the sheds with Best Sheds 10% off sale. Best Sheds, 100% Australian-owned and manufactured. Visit bestsheds.com.au.
Safety's feel. Time to get real.
Tim Watson here. Can you remember as a kid painting goals on the side of your dad's shed and shooting for goals day after day? Well, they built them tough back then, just like the sheds from Safety Steel. For prefab steel kit buildings and custom designed sheds that are tough and durable, search Safety Steel. For your dream shed, search Safety Steel.
Safety Steel. Time to get real.
Trying to choose new flooring, window furnishings or rugs for your home? Choices Flooring's Room View makes it easy to find the look you've been searching for. Whatever the space or your flooring needs, simply take a photo of the area in your home and select your flooring styles, window furnishings or rugs from the thousands of colours, styles and texture options. Using Choices Flooring's Room View, you can see your selections right in your own home. Then send your favourites to your local Choices Flooring store to book a free measure and quote.
Sustained performance in footy is more than just one great game. It's about playing consistently, game after game, season after season. Host Plus delivers strong performance over the long term, with top returns over 20 years. A top-performing super fund over the long term, that's a plus.
Super Ratings SR50 Balanced Index, December 2021. General advice only. Consider the relevant Host Plus PDS and TMD at hostplus.com.au before deciding if Host Plus is appropriate for you. Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future performance.
Search, compare Host Plus today.
To amplify results, performance must be measured. Musashi works with professional athletes, optimizing athletic performance through sports nutrition for all levels of athletes. Musashi, delivering the fuel you need to amplify speed, power, and focus for your sport. Musashi, performance amplified.
The McChicken is simply simple. No bells or whistles. Just a crispy chicken patty and fresh lettuce smothered in creamy McChicken sauce. Hey, we said no bells and whistles. McChicken. I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Available after 10:30 a.m.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
half. Is there a way back for the Saints? Gerard Healy.
Well, there is a way, but there's no evidence of it at the present time. But they have had a chance to sit down, refuel, re-energise, get the battery charged up. And if they're going to win, they're going to have to just dominate through the midfield. And they're also going to have to defend much better in the forward line. They are just incapable of stopping Laverde and Redmond and Hine charging off the half-back line through the middle of the ground. They're getting the ball, but they're not running and carrying at any stage. It's just get it to 65, get it to 70, long bomb. At the same time exposing or not ignoring players that have pushed down. So, Jonesy, they've got probably Hill coming off the half-back lines getting plenty of the football. Wilkie's getting a bit of the football, but on the other hand, Merritt's only had 9 possessions for the Bombers. Parrish has had no influence. So they're going to have to jump out of their blocks, out of their skins here, jump out of the blocks, play out of their skins if there to be any chance at three-quarter time.
Yeah, well, the Saints, for mine, have to stop it at the source, and it's going to be around the contest bands, closing down Essendon and their ability to whip it away.
Margin 28 as we're into the third quarter. From the opening bounce, it spills St Kilda's way. But a fumble from Ross. He got tangled in a tackle from Shield. The pressure pass to Crouch. He got a limp kick away. Wanganeen Miller came off the wing. He couldn't gather. He was dumped by Heppel, and he might get a free for that.
So do they push Higgins up?
He wanted to hand pass. He kicked instead. Wide for Marshall. Good. Strong body work. He used his natural advantage over Laverde, which is an extra 20 Ks, and he takes the mark.
Stringer was the person I was referring to, not Parrish, but the point is exactly the same. They've still got a couple of their guns not playing well, and these opportunities for St Kilda have to go through.
I exaggerated. It's 14 kilos the difference between Marshall and the man on the mark, Laverde. 40 metres out from goal, plants the foot and kicks the goal emphatically. St Kilda get the start they needed within 60 seconds. And the plot thickens a little here at Marvel Stadium. 4-3-27 to 7-7-49. It'll be nice and interesting to see if they've been juiced up at half-time with a passionate play, or it's more about structure and strategy.
No, it's not about that, Hutto. It's a bit of the other. They've got to get down and get dirty here. I mean, the structure's okay, but the big blokes really haven't had much impact. King's had a couple of moments, but they've been well beaten in a lot of areas, and that's the first time that Rowan Marshall's really had any impact.
All 18 players came together. The whole back line came down to acknowledge the goal, which does suggest they have been well and truly wound up.
I was looking to see if it was some sort of milestone goal, but it wasn't. Unless you count his 45th as something special.
Glimpse into the mood of the rooms. 22 points. Draper won the tap and the footy. Stringer just about had his fingers kicked by Crouch. No free kick. Gresham to Hill, who came charging off half-back. He had a bounce. He took them on. He ended up handballing haphazardly. Draper didn't handle it cleanly, but Shield mops up and sends the Bombers forward onto the chest of Wright. No whistle, either for the mark or the free kick. Hobbs to Merritt, kicks to full forward. It's got good carry, but not the right accuracy.
Yeah, missed a trick. He's only a kid, but he had Guelphy handball, left-hand handball, 8 metres. Guelphy runs into an open goal.
Umpire, I don't think it was in the right spot to see that potential tackle. Basically, he got tackled when he went for the mark. The umpire had got in the road, but none of the non-controllers intervened either. A bit wary after events of the last few weeks. Ross kicks St Kilda along that city wing. McGrath read it better than most, got to the front of the pack and double-handed it towards the boundary line. With the open hand, we'll have a throw-in.
And that's the next level for McGrath. He's going to play that half-back line. He's not a tall man, but he reads it well. He's dropped a couple today. Intercept marks can be his forte.
From the throw, Draper was draped upon, but play on is the call. And a bit of extra tackling on Burns. Advantage paid, taken by Ross. Just nudges the kick forward to Marshall. He wants to give to Gresham, who kept on coming. Was slowed down by the wall in front of him. Hurry kick inside 50 has landed on the chest of Ryder. So a little bit of fortune goes a long, long way. Maybe I'm not paying enough credit to the kick inside.
No, I think you're right. It was a bit fortuitous, but the question, Jonesy, is how much energy have Essendon spent in the first half? Can they maintain the pressure?
Particularly if the Saints get a couple on the scoreboard. Ryder has it, and the goal in his sights. He'll have to kick almost 50 metres. He'll get the journey. We wait on the accuracy, and it is there. So the response has been quick, and it's been decisive from the Saints. In 4 minutes, they've cut the margin significantly, and it's back to 17 points. 7-8-50 Essendon. Paddy Ryder's first goal takes the Saints to 5-3-33. They have goals from both their ruckmen.
I think you'd be surprised, Jared, the ballistic way in which they played and defended in that first half. For some reason, that is fueled through an efficiency of being able to perform at that kind of level. And I would think, well, the question will be, are they capable of being able to produce that for 4 quarters? Yep. It's not to say that they burnt energy, because they actually would have been far more efficient with the way they played. But the question is, as St Kilda grow and try and respond, can they maintain it?
Crucial moments for New Farm, Australian through and through. Draper, artistic tap to Shield, full throttle, hand pass to Martin, run down by Wanganeen Miller. Mark that down as a moment. Appendix breaks, big moment. That was on to goal. And Wanganeen Miller came flying in, wins holding the ball and spreads it out to Burns.
Well, he's human, Martin. I've seen him make a mistake.
Burns out of half-back.
Said it was from outer space earlier.
Ryder had it knocked away. McGrath underneath, working down in defence for Hines, who gets dapped as he tried to get around Butler. Loose hand pass turns over. Crouch to Membry. Wanted one more. Butler's that. Pokes it into the pocket. Long takes the mark. Opens the angle and kicks the goal. The Saints are on the charge. 3 in a row to start the second half. They are a team revitalised. 6-3-39 St Kilda. Essendon 7-8-50 on the mate scoreboard. Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
So ultimately, Jonesy, Essendon have had 2 chances to go in and kick a goal. Both of them reasonably easy sort of setups. There was a missed handball, and then there was a young guy who didn't read the play well and didn't know he was being attacked and set upon from defence. But St Kilda, on the other hand, have all of a sudden raised their energy level, turned the ball over, got it from one end of the ground to the other, and the big blokes are getting involved. So what a challenge now for the Bombers, just to see how much they believe, to see how confident they really are.
3 goals in just over 6 minutes. Draper got the tap, and it falls for Gresham, who has a bounce already. Saints continue the charge. Marshall is the big target. It went over the hands of Membry, who was present as well. Ooh. A fumble from Kelly. They've got the wobbles. Recovery okay. Heppel to McGrath. Still far from perfect. That ball, and made provisions enough for Redmond to pick it up and kick it out there, but it's landed on a St Kilda chest, and it's Jack Billings. So the Essendon defence is going to be under pressure again. Oh, it's 50.
Instantly you see the difference. In the first half in particular, the Saints give up that exit to Essendon.
Yep.
But Billings is right up on his man, creates a contest, wins a one-on-one. Ultimately, you get the reward with the 50 and they get a goal.
Billings rams it through. And the Saints have now kicked 4 in 7.5 minutes and cut the margin to under a goal. 7-8-50 to 7-3-45. Have we got clarity on what it was for, the 50?
Well, I think Guelphy just stayed in the protected zone to run around the back of the mark. Yes, his opponent split to the right. Guelphy stayed to the left.
It is a stupid rule.
I agree. It's just, what else could he do?
Ridiculous.
Run over the boundary line into the first row.
A replay for car sales, everything you auto know.
So he's with Sinclair. Sinclair doubles back the other way to receive it, and Guelphy just keeps on going where he was going.
He's actually passed him at the time.
The margin is just 5 points. Bounce back in the middle. No effective tap. Gresham winkled out a hand pass. Stringer tried to drag it clear. Zach Jones knocked it down. Crouch, Gresham and Sinclair combined. St Kilda forward again. Marshall's front position knocked it down to the side. Higgins got offloaded by McGrath. McGrath to Laverde to Heppel, who was happy to work it out over the boundary as he kicked, throw it in.
Well, it's much better play from the Saints. It's not pretty, but it's just high pressure.
They've built their game off this.
Yeah.
55 out, the boundary throw in. The spit order, tough and ready. Draper tapped it down to the front. Stringer, hand passed over his head. It found Merritt. Crafted a hand pass to Caldwell, didn't take it cleanly, ran into Sinclair, released it though to Heppel. Pulls the kick inboard, highly effective. Bounces up to Hobbs. Should have linked it up with Martin and didn't. Hobbs instead kicks for vacant territory out in the pocket. Rushing onto it was Ham. He's going to run out of space and be met by opponents. Harry Jones keeps it alive. Perkins' kick was charged down by Billings. Harry Jones has got it again. Thumps it from the boundary. It's impossible. He was out over the boundary when he kicked it. So the ball was actually out of bounds, curling back towards the opening, coming through into the field of play, if you can picture that in your mind.
It's 2 handballs that Hobbs hasn't given Jonesy, I think.
That was costly, that one.
Needs to give him.
5 points the margin. Bombers have a moment here. Can they capitalise from the throw-in? Draper taps it 30 metres out from goal. Gathered by Jones. Gave it to Hobbs. He wants to do it himself. He can't quite shape the ball the right way. Again, he decided not to lay off the hands to Martin. Did he burn it?
Yeah, I reckon.
Oh, the difference, or more accurately, 6 points the difference. 7-9-51 to 7-3-45 for Mate, Australia's most satisfied NBN customers. Oh, what a Friday night we've got now.
Hill marks the kick in, brings it safely to half-back for Butler. Just couldn't get it moving quickly. Tag out on the bench and get Hunter Clark back into the play. The kick goes long in the Membry direction. It cleared them. Ridley hand passes backward to Redmond. He's hot. He gives a bit of ground to Merritt. Finds some forward momentum to McGrath. Pokes the kick to Caldwell. Back edge of the centre square. He's going to spread across the far side as Laverde bounds onto the footy. Has a bounce to reach the wing.
Up the centre.
And then unloads inside the 50. Rights his man. Front position. Stringer plays Crummer. Got it with his boot. Not enough
and
on
another burnt handle.
And battle on the last line takes them up.
There's some singed Essendon players at the moment.
Everyone's thinking themselves down there at the moment. There's 3 handballs that had to be given.
Battle wanders into the back pocket. Eyes up, kick down the line. King got knocked over by Phillips. Umpire didn't see an issue. So Phillips took the mark. Unimpeded. Dumped the handball to Hine. He goes high for Stringer. Jones will have to leap from a long way back. At least made a contest. Battle fumbles. Jones grabbed it. Forced the handball to Hobbs. He's handballed it straight out of bounds. And it was in defence to be deliberate. And it's in attack, and it's still being paid deliberate. Fair call. Zach Jones to take the free for St Kilda.
It's Essendon keeping their cool now. The pressure's risen, and we've mentioned burnt handballs a few times, but that's just off the back of the Saints really lifting their intensity.
Zach in the back pocket. Nathan with us in the box for Shaw. Unify your teams. Good kick to King, who goes to half forward to Marshall, but he's denied by a desperate and determined Laverde, who, despite the size mismatch, got a fist into it. Spud style. And actually it wasn't Spud style because it was without the necessary follow-through and clean up the bloke in front.
But they have settled just a little bit, the Bombers, without kicking a goal.
At the throw-in, Marshall wins the tap down. Gresham hacked it off the turf. It'll land inside 50. Membry made a contest. Ambrosio was onto it, dragged over the boundary by Long. Throw it in.
But they're fumbling in their handballs even when they've chained them up, Jared.
No, the pressure's
been right, have they?
Right between the ears at the present time.
Margins a goal in Essendon's favour. St Kilda in attack. 40 out from goal at the throw-in. Marshall and Phillips. No effective tap. Durham got a hand in. Zach Jones working underneath. Caldwell's hand pass picked off by Ross, who wheels to the 50, cuts back inside, might have done too much, prods it near the teeth of goal. King drops what was accidentally in his lap. Higgins wore all the contact, pushing the back.
Shoot. Well, the pressure of St Kilda in the front half is amazing. It's the psychology of footy, Jonesy, where you can go from the hunted to the hunter in the first half for St Kilda, and now they've swung it around and they're the ones doing the hunting, and the Bombers are just shelling themselves.
I don't feel like that's in the bag as Hine laid the tackle and Higgins propelled himself forwards to make sure that the tackle was lying on top of him. Higgins close in to level it up. The Saints have cancelled out a 28-point deficit in 14 minutes. And the game has been tipped on its head. 8-3-51. Essendon 7-9-51. Mate scoreboard, Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
I think that's the beauty of the game right now. It's and to make this game the game we all want it to be is, can Essendon respond in this moment? Can two teams clash with the pressure and intensity that we've seen both teams in halves tonight deliver? And then fundamentally it comes down to the ability to be able to absorb that, keep your head, keep your composure and execute. And the team that does that is obviously the best team and will win.
And you've got to keep your composure in these tackles. They're paying those. They have done all year, the push in the back. It's just a bit of overexcitement by Hind.
Not sure there was actually anyone in his back though, Jared, as the ball comes loose to Zach Jones from the restart. Good vigorous tackle by Caldwell, goes unrewarded. The ball up. 8-3-51 to 7-9-51. Thrown up, Marshall. Got the tap down. Loose ball. Ross couldn't control it, but he got away in the end to Patton to Sinclair. More of the same. Off the left boot, Hunter Clark goes hunting. Ben Long's going to fly with conviction. He almost took the mark. Scouting the pack, Higgins. It's a rushed handball. Hind at the leap for it. Did pretty well under the circumstances. D'Ambrosio to Redmond. He's crowded out by three Saints. That's just the way the game's being played at the moment. They force the turnover. They give up some territory to get their hands on the footy. Sinclair short to Marshall.
And that's the point. The Bombers can't get their hands on the ball at the moment.
Here comes King. Marshall's about to be run down from behind. The kick goes to King over his head, and it's juggled by Kelly, who convinced the umpire it wasn't touched. It was a bold play. Mind you, normally the umpire has sympathy anyway, don't they, for the player who, if he pretends to think that it wasn't touched. Short to Ridley, and the Bombers need to find a way out with precise kicking. And it was a calculated kick, and it's marked by the captain, Heppel, who drops it on the chest of Redmond. They still haven't got out of the defensive 50. They should this time.
The switch to the near side for Kelly. Now Merritt's just come from the bench. The kick's a little shorter than that for Durham.
In the first half, he would have played on. He would have turned onto his left, given the handball. This time, it's all just safety. Maybe they've been instructed to slow it down and take the heat out.
Certainly gone into their shell either by accident or design. Redmond and Shield, but that's all at half back. Shield will advance the cause. He kicks down the wing. Phillips and Marshall. Marshall used the body well but dropped the mark, and Caldwell rushes through. Sweeps the hand past to Wright, who pokes for Stringer. He takes the mark 48 metres out from goal.
It was touched by Howard, but no umpire saw that.
It's a good decision by 2 metre. A couple of ground ball players that have made the same right correction decisions in the forward 50 this quarter. They'd be a couple of goals still in front.
He's got a behind to his name, Jake Stringer.
Got to be now, doesn't it?
They've got to muster a response. And they are looking to one of their star players to do it. It is a long, long range shot. Stringer from 53 hit that perfectly and was celebrating when it was halfway to go. Jake Stringer intervenes and restores the 6-point lead for Essendon. 8-9 to 8-3 on the mate scoreboard. Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
Well, that's what they're paying him for. That's why you get the big reputations. You lift when you need to, and he's going to need to lift another gear. And Merritt, he's expected to lift in these circumstances. He hasn't been a major factor tonight. If they're to win, he has to really come to the fore in this next 40 minutes.
Stringer to the bench. Gets all the plaudits. Ben Rutten had a long chat to young Ben Hobbs before he went back on the ground. Essendon's lead is restored to the tune of 6
points. The first option, Ben. Just do the simple things and do them instinctively.
Will it be Rutten or Ratton tonight, who is the successful coach? Centre bounce. Draper had his way out of the middle, put it in the path of Caldwell onto it. Here comes Jones.
This bloke is one of the best marks on the lead for a young kid that I've seen come into the game. Terry Danaher was a guy like this who just had unbelievable strength. They are so hard to take, those marks. And he does it like shelling peas under the heat. It was a great kick.
Yeah, it's a great call, Joe, because he's still not quite in the pack marks. He's still flying and looking likely, but on the lead.
He's still only a baby, really. I mean, he's going to get bigger and stronger. Those arms will end up getting some muscle on him eventually.
Doesn't happen for everyone, Jared. Just his 5th disposal of the night. This is such an important kick. From 48 metres, it didn't ever look like it was going on the right journey.
He is normally a good kick, though.
Yeah.
He'll be a factor. If the Bombers are going to win this game, he will be a factor.
It fades right. The Bombers' inaccuracy might ultimately cost them. 8-10-58 plays 8-3-51.
Hill's one that needs to be looked at. He's running hard. He's getting plenty of possessions.
Hill into Crouch, short to Howard, back to Hill. Out at right half back.
Just can't allow Hill to run free. He gets so many score involvements when he's a half-back. He's too hard to just let go.
Long down the line. King worked under the contest and the spoil was powerful to the boundary.
I'll be saying to Ben Hobbs, you're on Hill. You go and sort him out. If you can score on the back end of it, that's fantastic.
Ben Rutten shouting his instructions from down on the bench for Spitwater, Tough and ready. At the throw-in, Draper stood his ground in front, kicked it out of the ruck, took 40 or 50 metres. Wanganeen Miller leads the race, trying to get around Hobbs. Evasive action, saw a defensive hand pass to Howard, who dumps it back in the right direction. Draper put the fist through the footy. Shield came hard from the side and Caldwell got it as a result. Then to Merritt, now to Draper, up to full forward. Right set himself, knocked away. Right plays Crummer, up to Jones, and Harrison has his goal now. He's kicked 2 and the Bombers have answered emphatically. They're 13 points up. 9-10 to 8-3 on the mate scoreboard. Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
They've absolutely settled for sure. They've fought fire with fire, really. They've lifted their intensity, and I've really enjoyed watching Jones play tonight. His ability to be able to compete in the air. You mentioned his ability to mark on the lead, but I love his recovery. He looks likely when he goes up for those pack marks, but even though he's not clunking them at the minute, his ability to land on his feet and get back involved.
I think we should acknowledge 2-metre Peter as well in that passage of play when he brought the ball to ground, and I think he was the handball giver. He was.
Back in the middle. Ryder got the timing right over Draper. Draper quickly to his feet, knocked it out. Confronted on the end by Durham, but it falls the way of Gresham. A hand pass to Ross. Saints deep, 1-on-1. King in front. Ball cleared his head. Help from Laverty. Gets it almost to the line long. I'm not sure he really kept it in. And the umpire's paid a free to...
Paid a free?
Wow.
Oh, well, he had to let the advantage roll.
He didn't. It's coming back. I think everyone in the crowd thought it was out.
There was a continuous passage of play with a mark in the goal square.
Clearly softens the kick for the King lead, and there wasn't a lot the Bombers could do about that one, although it wasn't Laverty running with him, it was D'Ambrosio, so I don't know how that happened.
Sloppy play. King can't be allowed to run like that. The channel has to be blocked off. There's blokes sitting up the ground that could be pushing down into that area. They had all the time in the world to do it.
So he's a metre in for the boundary, wrong side for a right footer. Never threatened.
I can't believe he's not kicking a boomerang from that position.
9-10, 64 Essendon, 8-4-52 St Kilda, 23 minutes, Makita clock, we're all the outdoors with Makita.
Redmond in short to McGrath. Redmond on the follow-up, receives it back. It'll be disposal number 23. A short kick for Merritt, didn't mark. Holmes tries to save the day. Umpire lends a hand. There was some high contact on Merritt.
Well, they got away with that. You cannot miss-kick those ones.
Gives it to D'Ambrosio, who comes rushing by, sends it in the Draper direction, didn't time the fly right, knocked away by Wilkie and out of play.
I reckon Draper's been important in this last 5 or 6 minutes. He's competed. He's done well at centre bounce. He's got awkward knees. I reckon he'd give out a few corkies.
Accidentally on purpose.
Always accidental.
At the throw-in, Ryder was able to work it somehow or other to Gresham. Gives it to Sinclair and now to Hill, confronted by Hind. Hit the belly of the ball. It's going to land on the broadcast wing. Wanganeen Miller is bounding onto it. Straightens himself up. kicks it too fiercely for Higgins.
Well done to Hind. He works so hard to chop out Hill.
McGrath on the intercepts, kicks the Bombers from half back to half forward. Phillips worked underneath it, and Sinclair is going to be the third man in. He gathers for the Saints, risky kick, charged down by Perkins. It's there for Wright, gathers round the ankles, snaps it for an elementary goal. Horrible switch of play from the Saints, and they pay the maximum price. And the Bombers are up by 3 goals on the mate scoreboard, Australia's most satisfied NBN customers.
Well, it's hard to believe that actually happened, Jonesy. They were all lining up. There was no real pressure on Sinclair's kick. And yet he's picked out a target in, I guess, trying to make something happen, but it was just never on.
It was never on. But it typifies Essendon's night defensively for Perkins to have closed that outlet off the ball, giving them no other choice other than to take the risk and see if he can pull it off, and he was close enough and good enough to get a hand in.
10-10-70 Essendon, 8-4-52 St Kilda. 25 minutes into the third term, Makita rule the outdoors. 8 scoreboard, Australia's most satisfied NBN customers. 70 plays 52 as the Rucks go at it again. Ryder trying to tap it to his own advantage, then overran it. Caldwell got thrust forward.
That's the problem with the free kick at the other end of the ground. That one looked like a in the back as well.
He's looking for a ball up, thrown up quickly. Ryder got the better of Phillips. Gresham just bundled forward in hope. Redmond playing in front of Burns, able to whisk the handball away to Perkins, who had a look at Wanganeen Miller. Thought, I can get through there. He gave it to Ham, who gave it to Merritt, who goes an aggressive forward handball. Guelph, we can get a quick shot for goal. As a result, it bounced at the top of the square. Stunned. The ball bounces back to Hobbs. He has another crack as he tried to get around the Saints' defence and failed. Caldwell provides the tackling heat, and the ball doesn't leave the area. It'll be a ball up.
We got a new KB?
Maybe. They'll be thrown up. Still in the danger area. Bombers pressing. Ryder and Draper. Ryder had his way. Got the tap to the outside. Billings with work to do. Hands it off to Howard. A rush kick. Laverty in a wrestle with Marshall. We've seen it all night. Free kick goes Essendon's way this time. Grab the jumper. According to the umpire. Laverty just a fraction too far out. Sets up the kick to the top of the square. Wright came late. Ryder with a big fist made the spoil. Hands from Durham to Wright. Stringer off the left. Yes! Arms raised by the Bombers players and fans as Stringer kicks his second of the quarter. And he has an impact that the coach so desired post-match last week. It's back to a Bombers dominant position of 4 goals. 11-10-76 to 8-4-52. They've almost made all the ground back up.
It was amazing, Jones. You had the glasses on the Saints players after the ball went through. The hands went on the hips, the chins went down. It was almost like a death blow. It's going to be a huge comeback from here for the Saints to come out and expend that energy early. They would have had the big rev up at half-time. Spud's name would have been mentioned, I'm sure. They responded, and yet it was only skin deep. It lasted for 10 minutes.
5 in a row, and now Essendon have replied with 4 of their own. And that's the gap in the game. Bounced back in the middle. Phillips wins the tap. Gresham went to ground. Caldwell worked out a hand pass. Shield kicked it into the oncoming traffic. Onto it goes Perkins. Essendon will go out the far side with an expansive kick to the wing. It's bounced up for Durham to do something about, and he did well. Hobbs leads up. He's at centre half forward. He liked the look of Caldwell. He sat it up and Sinclair arrived to spoil. Hind plays Crummer. Guelphy's on in the pocket and he takes them up.
Geez, there's the future of the Bombers. All the kids were involved there.
Guelphy is going to set it up, hoping for Draper. He cleared him. Stringer off the ground, straight into the traffic. Now he's got it, snapped it into the post.
He's looking menacing down there, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a bit positive thinking he's going to kick it off the ground through 4 blokes, but
even the second step was fairly unlikely, but
he's kicked 2 goals too, and the margin is 25 points.
Hill sends the Saints safely back into play.
Let's stay on Hill.
Patton gives it back to Hill. He keeps on coming. Links up with Burns. They've got the defensive 50. Just under 4 minutes remaining on the Makita clock as the next kick goes in the right direction. Laverty that time trying to deny. Got the ball to the front of the pack. The scrap continues underneath until the umpire, Brett Roseberry, intervenes.
I wouldn't be surprised if Steve Silvani is Laverty's personal coach. He scraps, he grabs, he mauls. He never gives away a free kick.
Marshall grabs this one, hurls it forward, grabbed by Redmond. Mark wasn't paid and hadn't travelled far enough. Heppel has a look back behind his shoulder, didn't overcommit, just tapped it back to Shield instead. It was astute play for Merritt, who bombs away. Peter Wright! Oh, his timing was perfect, just couldn't hang on. Great hands from Corbell to Ham to Perkins. Draper!
There he is!
From the top of the square, he came out, and there wasn't much battle could do. And Draper will have the shot from 15 metres out directly in front.
And this will test his kicking action, Jared.
I've written it down. I've already put it in the book.
We spoke of it earlier. It's nice and compact, but can he deliver when the pressure mounts?
Shut back all those 5 goals they gave up. What an achievement it would be.
To keep his nose over his knee.
Before three-quarter time. He comes in, 20 metres out. Goal umpire moves, but not too far. Draper kicks his second. And the Bombers, or is it his first? It's his first. And the Bombers go to 12-11-83. St Kilda 8-4-52. And contention for the player of the day for Whirlpool, Kitchen and Laundry Appliances.
Well, he's a big man. He's got a presence. I like the look of Polly Perkins as well. He just continues to contribute, makes good decisions.
Round the grounds, Polly Perkins.
Was a great contributor on, I think it was 3RW football at one stage.
Very much.
But there's a lot of good kids on display here. If I'm an Essendon fan, I'm a lot happier this week than I have been over the last month.
3 doctors around Dyson Heppel downstairs.
His tap back to Shear was superb before.
Draper with a punch forward. Gresham hunts the footy. He's at half back by the time he gathers. He's under enormous duress. It looked like holding the ball. Martin pries a kick near full forward. Knocked away from Stringer. Onto it goes Hobbs. Hand pass to Merritt. Over the shoulder. Ham one more. Now Stringer. Left foot snap. Out on the full.
I've liked Peter Wright's game. He's presented well. He's given them a target, and he's worked hard at ground level as well when he hasn't taken it.
5 shots for the quarter for Stringer. 2 in one go.
I really like Hobbs as well. I mean, I think he should have given handballs, but he's picked up about 6 possessions. It's a hard position he's playing.
Sinclair towards the wing. Laverty knocked it away from Ryder. Membry tried to motion his way through, couldn't. Zach Jones is clamped, but in the back goes D'Ambrosio. Free kick to Zach.
He's gone all right, D'Ambrosio, in his first game. He's hit targets. He's worked hard.
Jones short to Burns. Or Patton off half-back. Fingers for Heppel. It's being attended to, so hopefully there's no serious damage.
He has sprinted back 120 metres to be the deepest defender right now. D'Ambrosio.
Short until Jones took the mark, and then it's long towards King. Coasting across the pack, didn't mark it. Crouch came with a good run, picked up the ball, sends it into the pocket. It'll bounce in front of Higgins. It bounced to the favour of Kelly. Handball to D'Ambrosio, further to Durham. Across to Merritt, not far from the defensive goal. Gave it to McGrath, a hot ball. His kick was smothered. Saints have an opportunity here. If the circle can close, D'Ambrosio came away.
Wow.
And crafted a kick to Stringer. Well played, young man.
That was clever. He made a few of his teammates look ordinary the way he got rid of the ball when he was under the pump.
Bombers fans getting agitated a little about something as Stringer kicks along the wing, and Perkins, who'll be a favourite of many Bombers young fans, I suspect, takes the mark at left half back.
I see how he's just sitting there, Jonesy, by himself.
So Polly kicks from half back to half forward. Draper! He got the sit over Howard. He hung for great effect and takes the mark. And then sends it deep. Can Wright get there? Oh, he crashed the pack. Picked up by Hobbs. Guelphy! The Friday night lights are burning bright for the Bombers. He's kicked his second. And they have 6 for the term. And I don't think anyone can quite believe it in the Isles.
I'm just looking behind us, Jonesy. That bandwagon is starting to fill up.
Oh, the big fella.
That's a big leap from Draper. No arms in the back, no push in the back. It's just all athleticism. This bloke is going to make a statement in this competition over the next 5 years.
Textbook hanger. And Big Peter Wright has clean bowled the pack.
Yep.
If you were just checking scores, it was 28 points at half-time. You go, fair enough, it's 37 at three-quarter time. Missed the best part of the night. 5 goals in a row, St Kilda to level things off. And then 6 in a row for the Bombers to close out the term. And they are commanding leaders at the final change. Hugely impressive, much to admire. And that's pretty terrible from St Kilda and is going to be worthy of plenty of analysis in the aftermath. 13-11, 89 Essendon, 8-4, 52 St Kilda. Multiple goal kickers, Draper, Wright, Jones, Stringer and Guelphy, all with 2. Billings has kicked 2 for the Saints. Three-quarter time, Friday night footy, the Dons by 37 on AFL Nation.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for McDonald's. Introducing the Australiano.
Oh, a good mark to Wilson. He plays on at full pace and kicks a beauty to Thomas. Thomas gives off to Harris. Harris closes in on 50, but wait, he's tackled by Smith. Or is it Williams? Williams scrabbles for the ball, kicks it to a guy in blue, who kicks it to some other guy in blue. Now some tall bloke has the ball. He kicks it to an even taller bloke. Kick, handball, kick.
Don't miss the best bits. You won't miss a moment if you drink Wise. Proudly brought to you by Drink Wise.
Installerine, Installerine, Installerine.
For the hottest of hot water you've ever seen. Ream comes on steady, hot and strong. It just keeps on and on.
Ream's been proudly manufacturing here in Australia for over 80 years.
Installerine,
Installerine,
Installerine.
So ask your plumber for Ream, Australia's #1.
This is the sound of Julian's bargain price vacuum with deep express suction. This is the sound of Julian trying to fix his bargain price vacuum, which infuriates him deeply. Yes, this is the sound of bargain regret. When it comes to the important stuff, like insurance, don't risk it. Go to Amy instead, who offers great value cover you won't regret. Amy does. Before buying insurance issued by AAI Limited trading as Amy, read the PDS at amy.com.au. TMD also available.
Every group of mates has one. The bloke who avoids his shout.
Oh, I left my wallet in the car. Mate, use your phone. Oh, it's gone flat, mate. Can you cover me?
With a Signet power bank, there's no more running out of charge when you or your mates need it most.
Take my Signet power bank, mate. Charge up. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll get this round and the next. I owe you one.
Aussie owned, Aussie designed. Power your life with a Signet power bank. Signet.com.
Want $100 just for switching your internet provider? 8. Switch your internet to Mate and enter the promo code MATE100 on sign up to get $100 credit on your account once connected. You heard right. Get $100 credit just for switching and connecting internet with Mate. Be quick, limited time offer. Visit letsbemates.com.au or search Mate online.
Credit applied 28 days after activation. Terms and conditions apply.
The McChicken is simply simple. No bells or whistles. Just a crispy chicken patty and fresh lettuce smothered in creamy McChicken sauce. Hey, we said no bells and whistles. McChicken. I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Available after 10:30 a.m.
Which oil keeps your business moving? Farmers and fleet managers, they know. Construction crews and car mechanics, they know. And you know. Valvoline, the original engine oil.
Here's another Melbourne Storm player profile. One of the best hookers in the NRL, Harry Grant, made his Storm debut in 2018 and was presented with his debut jersey by club great Cameron Smith. Grant was born in Rockhampton in Queensland and played his junior footy for the Yeppoon Seagulls before playing a part of Storm's under-20 side and winning the Player of the Year. The athletic hooker played most of the 2018 and 2019 seasons in the Queensland Cup before being loaned to the Wests Tigers and making a huge impression in 2020, which included a State of Origin debut for Queensland in Game 3 of a memorable series victory. Grant returned to Melbourne in 2021 following Cam Smith's retirement, earning another Origin call-up and being a part of the Storm's minor premiership. Off the field, Grant is one of the club's best surfers and enjoys heading down to the Bellarine Peninsula or Melbourne's wave pool on his time off. Ride the Storm in 2022. Head to melbournestorm.com.au to become a member or buy tickets for our next home game.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now. Macca's I'm Loving It Moments. The Australiano, made with McCafe coffee, chai and native Australian wattle seed.
Marshall and the man on the mark, Laverty. 40 metres out from goal, plants the foot and kicks the goal emphatically. St Kilda get the start they needed within 60 seconds.
Pokes it into the pocket. Long takes the mark, opens the angle and kicks the goal. The Saints are on the charge. Right place, Crummer, up to Jones, and Harrison has his goal now. He's kicked two, and the Bombers have answered emphatically.
Hands from Durham to right. Stringer off the left. Yes! Arms raised by the Bombers players and fans as Stringer kicks his second of the quarter.
Loving it moments for Macca's, the Australiano, made with McCafe coffee, chai and native Australian wattle seed. Essendon by 37, Jared and Nathan.
Well, it's just an unbelievable turnaround by the Saints and then an unbelievable turnaround by the Bombers. First 15 minutes, the Saints' pressure was at 235. You're going to win the game if you maintain that. Last 10 minutes, it dropped right away to 175. You're going to lose the game if you produce that sort of way forward. Now, is there another way forward to St Kilda? Well, there is. It doesn't look likely. It'd be a huge performance, and well done to the Bombers for finding a way back in front.
Searching for just their third win of the season. The opening bounce of the final term for Tyre Power. 3 votes during the stock take sale. Terrible bounce. Recalled. Essendon finish off to the right as we look at it. Phillips and Ryder. Phillips clean tap down to Stringer, who is in the tackle of Ross. And we'll try again.
Welfie lining up again on Hill. Just got to shut him down.
Phillips to Caldwell and off to Merritt. Hand pass was a loose one though. Hunter Clark torped it up inside 50 and Marshall took the mark on the way down.
Well, that's the problem when you give an errant handball. Man, he's under pressure, yes, but it's just, you know, there was no reason why a senior player can't hit that target.
Owen Marshall lit the fuse at the start of the third term with a goal inside a minute. He is looking to repeat that feat. He will come through true centre half forward and deliver from a step outside the 50. Rowan Marshall lashes it at goal. Magnificent contact. It fades on its trajectory though.
That was the start they were chasing.
You're going to need a lot to go right.
Starts with a miss. Back into play. Ridley was going sharply one way, changed his mind. High to the dockside. Wright's got to get there late to make a contest, and the pack all went thrust forward because there was a push, according to the umpire, and it's going to Howard. There's a rarity for you, Jared, a push in the back.
Gone quiet on it, Otto.
Under instructions. Howard kicks into the pocket. Bombers seem well structured to defend, which they do by Kelly and Laverty. Now that is going to be deliberately out of bounds because the third punch wasn't in a marking spoil. Laverty blots his copy with that, and it's Gresham from behind the boundary. And a quick assessment of the mathematics and the geometry involved here. And dart out to the right, and he gets it right. and he gives the Saints a start to this huge task in the last. Kicks his second goal, opened the face up. And St Kilda go to 9-5-59. Essendon 13-11-89, and that is on the Farmers Business Network scoreboard. Farm Supplies online.
Well, this is just maturity. Maybe it's just intelligence, I'm not sure, but that is dumb. And from little things, big things can grow. It's a little mistake, but it becomes potentially the start of the comeback. They have to get the first goal to get the sixth goal. And that was really one that should have been an absolute sitter for across the line or a boundary throw in, but to give them an easy out like that is a critical error that may be costly.
It's the Amy Clanger category, Jared, where I think you've got your winner there.
I think we've got a winner.
Ryder wins the tap out to the side. Caldwell's had an influence in centre field, and he sends the Bombers forward. Martin made a good contest to bring it to ground, but Clark is there for the Saints. He hands it off to Webster. Kicks a half back. Took an awkward bounce away from Higgins. McGrath, a nice touch to Caldwell again. Kick was smothered, though, by Sinclair. Higgins lent a hand, and Sinclair is able to fashion a kick down the line. Getting a hand to it was Kelly. Marshall took hold of him. He had no right to do so, and it's Kelly's free kick.
When they really are just sloppy free kicks that cost you momentum.
And he's been told to play on out of half back. It's a high ball down the wing. Wright arrives. Not to clear underneath. Burns gathered for the Saints. Released it to Sinclair. Probes the kick inboard. It was well spoiled by Ridley. McGrath lends a hand out toward the boundary. Has it in safekeeping. Gives some grounds to D'Ambrosio. His bold kick across the face of goal is a ripper.
He kicks like Saad, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
Slingshots.
Martin. He goes a little wider to Ridley. Eager to give the hand pass to Kelly, which he does. Searching for a target up the line. He didn't have one, and Hill is able to slide in and went back for the Saints.
He quickly identifies Gresham on the move, takes the mark. Has a hankering to just move it somehow. Now he's called on by the umpire. Left foot kick, misplaced. Tough for Butler in a marking contest against Ridley. About a foot taller. He's quickly to his feet. And he spots McGrath. Now Durham's got the dockside wing to himself, but he was just out of reach. So he runs, he bounces, he handballs. Off to Martin, who still tries to kick to Durham. He did pretty well to make a contest because there was two to go against him by then. And the ball comes over the line and out of bounds. 5 minutes in the final term. The key to rule the outdoors clock. Our experts for Shawl Unify. Unify your team. Happening on the Farmers Business Network scoreboard. Farm Supplies online. Throw in. At the front, Phillips got the tap. It went down the throat of Ross. Handball to Crouch and then back to Burns. Saints to half forward. D'Ambrosio got a dead set shove in the back by Gresham. Not spotted by the umpire. Gresham let his instincts take over. Whether that was right or wrong, I'm not sure. He played on and kicked it behind.
You think that was a free kick, Hutto?
I did. But you're not allowed to comment on it, Jared.
29-point mark.
Lisa said.
That's called moving him under the ball.
Laverde marked the kick in, places it more centrally to Hind, who can go on quite the run. 2 through the defensive 50. Now he's had 3 bounces. He checks the kick up
Good
for
kick.
Martin on the logo. Martin footy in hands, lets them set up ahead. Just sags the kick to Kelly. Ambrosio was a legitimate target 15 metres further afield. Kelly didn't give it, so it's a longer kick to a contest.
Oh.
Harrison Jones worked underneath it. Gathered by Battle. His kick is smothered. D'Ambrosio is onto it. He took on the tackle and released the footy. Hind took a step to get around Clark. Delivers into the pocket. Perkins. Did he mark it in the field of play? The umpires are going to consult and say yes.
We're seeing a pretty good debut right here. D'Ambrosio, I'm not sure why he hasn't been picked. He's not 180 centimetres, so it's maybe heightism that's cost him over the journey. But those recruiters, they don't like little blokes, but he's been sensational tonight.
Trainers did well to get out of the way.
Archie Perkins runs into the field of play, puts a balk on, opens matters up, and thrashed it all the way across the face of goal to the boundary. It's punched over.
I had my best Polly ready to go too.
It had artistic merit, but he couldn't stick the landing. 29-point margin for the Bombers.
Throw in. in their forward pocket. Phillips will get to it first. Ryder climbed over the top, slapped it to the front. It's still up for grabs, knocked towards Ross by Burns, and then Sinclair waded his way through expertly. Got it off to Wilkie, who sends it around the wing. Laverty came hard and took the mark, but it was touched off the boot, so it's out of bounds. Or is he just saying it was dropped, it wasn't controlled? He's saying it wasn't controlled, but I actually think he's correct looking at the replay.
I reckon D'Ambrosio had first grabs on it.
Yeah.
Jumped back into the pack.
Throw in is the determination. Which is the disappointing appointment of Jaden Laverty. 89 plays 60. FBN, shop crop protection and nutrition products online. From the restart, prodded forward off the ground by Sinclair, only as far as Redmond. Engulfed in a tackle, so it spills to Zach Jones. He kicks to grass and sets 3 Bombers chasing it, getting there first. It was Kelly with a hand pass this time to Laverty. Bangs it up along the wing. Phillips arrived perfectly with 2 much smaller men in attendance until he got there.
Underrated player, Phillips.
They've looked much more stable with the 2 ruckmen there, haven't they? Phillips and Draper. To half forward goes the kick. Stringers at the back. He didn't fly. Might regret that. Howard unimpeded at the front. Drags it down for the Saints. Purse open on tonight. We'll update you for Chemist Warehouse. Great savings every day, a little late.
Howard stayed on the skinny side. Lemonine Miller up with ball in hands. He kicks from halfway. Wants Membry in a wrestle and a grapple with Kelly. Kelly wins the footy. Membry threw him out of it. And he will win a holding the man free kick.
Membry can't believe it.
Swaps the hand pass to McGrath, who takes a bounce at half back. Expansive kick. It'll work as it falls for Hobbs, who can turn and play on and deliver out wide for Harrison Jones. Hugs it to his chest. Now he'll wheel around. Draper wants it right as the deepest target. Jones is going to challenge them to take a mark out into the pocket. It was well rounded up by Long before the pack could really form. And it takes the intercept mark. Dons by 29.
Saints short on the way out this time. Patient to battle. They don't have time. 13 and a half minutes. A lot of ground to make up. Goes forward then back. Hesitates. Takes the longest option he can. King squeezed out by 3 Bombers who work well in combination to fist it over the line and out of bounds.
Well, they just don't look like it at the present time. The Bombers are still working hard, getting back into defence, putting pressure on the ball carrier.
It's a body blow to the Saints season when it's so tight in the top 8 and they can't come back. From the throw in, Ryder couldn't be moved, but Caldwell won the footy and was tackled in a prolonged fashion. Thought it might have been holding the ball. It was, in fact, the advantage paid, but the Saints get no further than half forward. Cleared away for Essendon down along the wing, and a nice mark taken by Caldwell, given there was going to be some serious heat arriving shortly.
Well, it's good to see Caldwell getting plenty of the ball through the middle of the ground. He's just a young bloke who gets more mid-ground time because Parrish is not out on the deck.
Pumps the kick long. Jones came floating from the side. Loose ball. Hunter Clark picked it up and was gobbled up immediately. And no wriggle room there. Another ball up close to the line. 40 metres around from Essendon's goal. Caldwell 21 touches for safety steel sheds.
There's a big one-on-one win for Ridley, the other end of the ground.
Just 1 goal in this final term so far. Zach Jones roved the tap. Billings' kick was smothered. Gresham forced a path clear, but his hand pass is turned over to Merritts. And he can try for Stringer. He missed him in the pocket, and Wilkie took the tumbling mark on the boundary.
Almost looks so stable.
Yep.
Saints don't look likely at all penetrating.
Switch, so it's a kick down the line to a contest, and King arrives to take a decisive mark, but he's all the way at half back. They're not sprinting forward either. So need some troops up ahead of the ball. Kick for Gresham and sideways to Clark. The switch to the near side is on. Webster, who's got Battle as the outlet targets. Hill leads up, kicks good enough to find him, and he'll turn and run. He signals for Jones to come at him. His kick's no good though. He delivered it straight to Redmond.
Is that a big game, Redmond?
Been unreal.
26 touches.
Well, disposal efficiency running 92%.
Laverty with footy in hands. He's going to give some ground to McGrath.
Put into the stats.
Switch to the far side for Kelly. Redmond has looped around to be a legitimate target again. The hand pass goes to Ridley initially, though. He kicks long down the wing. Saints were pretty well set, 3-on-2. They just need the right crumb. Sinclair provides it to Wilkie and then to Billings, who kicks to half forward. Ryder arrives to make a spoil and jar it clear. Crouch works the path clear underneath, knocked off his kick. Jones is onto it. He's in the tackle, though, of a couple. And it's held up 40 out from St Kilda's goal.
The goal of the game is for Host Plus. That's a plus. Right now it's 45 metres out from St Kilda's goal. They need more than one. Tap down. It's a high tackle free kick or high contact free kick going the way of Draper.
It's been an interesting game as far as midfielders. The most anyone's got as a mid is Gresham with 26. It's not a big number. The backs are getting so much more. Redmond's at 26 coming off the back line. Sinclair. In many ways, it's the new midfield, the halfback.
Cross to Martin this time as they find a way out and a clear path too. That outer side. Ridley, who's been excellent tonight. Maybe Heppel was hampered by his injured fingers. He dropped what would normally have been a pretty elementary mark, and then Ridley kept on running and threw his head back straight away because his kick was erroneous, out of bounds on the floor. So the Saints look to get something started. Gresham, a cute little kick, super short to Crouch, and then he went to King, who lost a one-on-one to Ridley, and the ball bounced back in his favourite. He gave it to McGrath, and then to Hobbs. They gather at half-back, trying to propel forward. Merritt ran aground, got a handball back to Hobbs. Shows everyone the footy and then kicks in the Jones direction. Battle a bit strong at this stage of their bodies, maturity path. Loose ball grabbed by Ham. Handball hopeful to Caldwell. And then he heaves it to Perkins, who gets himself clear enough.
Oh, Holly.
And then he rattles the post. He rattled my head. I was that excited, obviously.
Well, there was a goal in the third quarter where I made mention of St Kilda putting their hands on the hips and looked like the killer goal, and seems to be that's the case. They've just not found anything.
It was a crucial moment for New Farm, Australian through and through.
Essendon by 30. Sinclair marked the kick in, spent it well to Billings on the outer wing. He brings it up to Membry, who can turn and go. He should pump it to the hot spot. King's his target. Higgins will play Crummer. King flies. Higgins underneath. Snaps the goal. They went boop, 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 boop down the field from the kick in. And that is a rare beast.
9 to go.
I hope we didn't just jinx the Bombers then.
Could have.
Jared.
Down by 24 points. 10-6-66 to 13-12-90.
Somebody had to give the Saints a hand.
Oh.
These goals, anything they can salvage St Kilda is important because as matters stand, they're going to slide from 6th to 8th on percentage. So anything they can salvage.
15 minutes gone. It's not out of the question.
9 to go. You just wanted that in the highlights, didn't you, Jared? Just you predicting.
Not out of the question. Most unlikely. But if they go bang, bang, you always ask yourself, what would 2 quick goals do?
Oh, they're well and truly capable. We saw it start of the third.
Yeah, we saw it last night with Carlton.
Kick 5 in 7.5 minutes at the start of the third. So there's plenty of time.
The third goal umpire stuffed it up.
It doesn't progress far initially. Now it does. Kick from Marshall, received the handball from Crouch. Heppel ran after it, but had to make provisions for the loose bouncing ball. He did a pretty good job of it, really. Picked it up and handball to Shield, but the pressure remains. 45 metres out from goal. Well gathered by Ross. Off to Zach Jones. Here we go. Short pass is onto the chest of Gresham. And this would really make it interesting. Cut it back to 18 points. Shake of the head from Hind on the mark. Still plenty of time. 8 minutes 30 left. Gresham using all that is allocated to him.
Just got to kick these. If you're coming from nowhere, these have got to go through.
30 metres out in front. Makes absolutely no mistake. He's done his bit. 3 goals for Jade Gresham. And the Saints are still in it. 3-goal ball game. 13-12-90 Essendon, 11-6-72 St Kilda. And that is on the Farmers Business Network scoreboard, Farm Supplies Online.
Certainly staking his claim as one of the best players on the ground. He's essentially keeping the Saints in it, really. It's been outstanding tonight.
Play of the day, visit mildura.com.au. 8 minutes and 5 seconds left in the game.
Well, we could be on the cusp of one of St Kilda's greatest victories, or we could be on the cusp of a game where they look back and say, well, that's why we finished in 8th position or just missed out.
3-goal ball game. Marshall and Phillips. Low bounce. Hoiked out the back. Crouch first access. Two-man tackle. Lost it. Merritt kicks a high ball inside Essendon's 50. It lands in a tough spot. Hobbs had a fly at it. Ball loose underneath. Harrison Jones picked it up. He was in the tackle the moment that he did.
I like to look at Durham on the wing. He just keeps on working, reads the ball well, doesn't always get it, but geez, he's a goer.
30 from the Essendon goal. Some hanging on in the ruck contest. It's a free kick to Marshall.
They are killer blows. You've got it in your territory and you give a soft free kick away.
Marshall off to the side for Howard. He's got Wilkie on the way out. He stays more centrally, finds Hill. 40 from defensive goal. Hill takes a couple of decisive steps. His kick is not great though, and Redmond stands against the flow and takes the intercept mark in the middle.
Well, he's trying to wind the clock down, just stabilise.
Sideways to McGrath, out to the broadcast wing for Hobbs.
He's got to make good decisions from here on.
A lot to work with.
Needs an option down the line. Big 2-metre Peter's got to get on his bike.
So Hobbs kicks it long down the boundary. Marshall,
and that's perfect.
Right to right.
The 2-metre Peter's got to think that through a bit earlier.
Flipped it over the boundary. 60 out from the Essendon goal.
7 minutes is a long time to have an ultra defensive.
Oh yeah, you can't do that. You got to score, but you didn't go. You couldn't go through the middle. That had to go down the line.
The throw in. Phillips takes front position. A defensive tap. Long did well for the Saints to open it up for Burns, who got taken to ground. Fair tackle, the umpire said. Shield away to Merritt. Kick to nobody at half forward. Wright will get there on the second bounce. He tips it inside to Perkins, who kicks it to full forward. Draper's there.
Pollock
hit the post.
Missed the handball over the top, I've got to say, but gee, he's not far away from nailing one.
19-point margin.
Hand pass from Sinclair to set them in motion out of defence. Battle as they string the handballs together out wide. Wilkie's kick is an indifferent one. Gathered by Ham. Desperate lunge from Hill. Slowed him. Hand pass to Merritt though. Bombers still have the footy. And Jared's favourite, Nick Martin, takes the mark. 40 metres out from goal. He just habitually runs to the right spots to make himself an option.
He's a smart player.
Like
and he's
Carousella.
a darn good kick under the pump, Jonesy. I'm going to put maximum pressure on here.
Are you penciling it in?
Penciling it down.
So Martin goes back a long way. Full contemplation of what's ahead. He realises the Friday night lights are on him. He's got the gumption for this sort of moment. Bombers under a bit of heat. They lead by 18. A goal here would mean everything. It wasn't a great connection. A big build-up, but not much.
He went to the bag and got out another golf ball.
Yeah.
That one went out. That was a 2-stroke penalty.
Left. It's a handy point, though. Actually, they were already ahead by 19, so now it's 20.
Howard's kick is a wobbler coming into play. Up to meet it first was Durham. Ball spills out the back. Redmond, use shield. Back to Redmond. Guides the kick for Stringer.
Good from Redmond. Didn't blast.
Could he?
He would have to open the angle up. No, he's just going to set it for Draper to have a leap at, or 2-metre Peter. Martin at the back. Hobbs off the ground. Touched.
He's calling touch, the goal umpire.
Yep. Howard was there. They're going to send it to review. Why would this need to go to review when the goal umpire was on the spot and absolutely certain that it was touched on the way through? Sleep better with Spineley's pillows on sale now at spineleys.e.com.au.
There's a curious rule that says if the field umpire says it's touched, but they have to review it.
Yes, but the goal umpire absolutely signalled touched.
Yeah, straight away.
So all this can do is create confusion.
Yeah. It has, created some confusion.
His ankle. You can see the ball is touched by the left hand of the St Kilda defender. Decision on the score.
I like the addition of which hand touched it too. That shows more conviction.
21 points on the Farmers Business Network scoreboard. Farm Supplies online. There's 4:52 to go on the Makita Ruley Outdoors Group.
Yeah, some important minutes have elapsed, hasn't it? It's down to just under 5, so it'll take some of the Saints' best work. It's short on the way in from Hill after considering all the long options and rejecting them. Wilkie takes the mark in the back pocket. Now 4:45 left. Time elapsed. And he kicks long to Marshall, who robotically comes out. Can't take the mark, Laverty. Got our fist into that legally.
It's going to happen this year, I reckon. We're going to have a controversial late decision in the grand final reviewed by the...
And that'll be a crucial moment for Newfoundland.
Technicians in the arc.
Through and through. Boundary throw in. Left half forward for Essendon. A long way from St Kilda's goal. Martin trying to wade his way through the pack. Good enough. To Durham, to Merritt. Oh, Shill. Almost the ball stuck in his hands. He tackles Hill without the footy now in frustration. No, it's holding the ball. Hill dropped it. Fair enough.
Sure, he actually did total possession. But,
So, 65 metres out from goal. We know he is a powerful kick. And this would be the biggest statement. No, he's not going to take the shot. He's just popped it for Stringer. Asked an awful lot of him. And
it's a horrible decision.
Slips in and takes the mark.
He also kicked on his right foot.
So the kick came the way of Ross, who delivers for Membry. Back edge of the centre square. They have to just go for everything now, the Saints. Crouch out the far side to Marshall. Laverty made the spoil. Redmond kept his opponent off the footy, and then Marshall socketed off the ground. Hind overran the footy, but he will get it back from Kelly. And Hind guides the Bombers to safety on the outer wing. Caldwell takes the mark. A little couple run by.
Bombers' defence have been absolutely superb. Laverty, Redmond, Ridley.
Clock well too. Caldwell kicks it up to half forward. It's favoured Wilkie in flight.
They were so good last year too. They just haven't been as effective this year.
Inboard to Burns.
Because the pressure through the middle has been non-existent.
Gee, that's a risky short kick. It's knocked away by Hind. In fact, it's intercepted by Hind. He kicked the stringer, got past the outstretched fingers, trying to double back onto it. Hunter Clark kept him at bay. Hill towed it away. They still swarm around it, trying to create the late chance. They will. Hobbs got it from Martin and he missed. So Hobbs has refused to hand pass to Martin on at least 3 occasions. Martin hand passed to Hobbs and he blew the shot.
Yeah.
They're going to need to have a beer afterwards.
And this will be
Nick Hind
a justified shot.
Yeah, this will be appropriate, I reckon.
I think Guelphy's still putting his hair out after being cooked again.
Nick Hind's found the answer to his form, though. Like, ultimately, all his offensive foray and ability to win and impact the game has come off his ability to close out, make spoils, make tackles. He's been terrific tonight. This is cap it off.
So Nick Hind, the man who started so many forward thrusts tonight, has the chance to finish the game here and now, but he misses.
Didn't quite nail the ball. It's a good build-up, Otto.
13-17-95 to 11-6.
Kicked 5 consecutive behind since with 7 minutes to go. St Kilda have not had a single look, it feels like, side the 50. The mark has been taken by Harrison Jones from the kick in. Back to the teeth of goal. Right!
Did it easy.
Wrangled his way to the front of the pack and takes the mark. And in his milestone game, he can nail it shut.
Well, it's a great mark by Harrison Jones from the kick out or from the torpedo from Brad Hill. But, geez, this was a great mark. He just moved himself to the front, reached up, highest point, and can celebrate his milestone with a match-winning goal.
Peter Wright for his third. He's got it. And the Bombers are well home. Game number 100 will end in victory for 2-metre Peter. The Bombers have had 31 scoring shots. 14-17-101. to St Kilda 11-6-72. That is the Farmers Business Network scoreboard. Farm Supplies on.
And it's a credit to him. I was somewhat surprised to hear that he's the hardest working player at the Bombers in the pre-game, but it sums, well, his performance tonight sums that up. And 3 goals. He's the number 1 score involvement player on the ground. His ability to be able to compete in the air has been outstanding.
Around 33,244.
Set a bounce. And the crowd is thinning by the second. Stringer found an unusual route out of the middle. He went back and then he gave it to Phillips, and the rest of the crowd around him evaporated. So it's long, and he's got another. Not satisfied with 3 goals, Peter Wright. He wants to have the ball in his hand as the clock winds down. Mightn't quite get to fully expire, but it'll come mighty close. It's going to take a 52-metre kick from a 45-degree angle. The Bomber fans, they're still here. They're ready to cheer this home. 4 goals to Peter Wright. Triumphant. And the Bombers are well and truly home. Their 3rd win of the season is nigh.
Well, he's obviously a very popular bloke because the cheering and the clapping and the celebration from players coming from everywhere was here for everyone to see. Phillips just danced a merry song, or danced a merry step through the middle of the ground, Hutto. I know you liked it. And it set up 2-metre Peter. You rarely see a 7-foot bloke kick it to a 7-foot bloke.
It was a Bendix Breaks tall moment.
It could well have been.
7 seconds to go. St Kilda fans have evacuated the stadium.
Gee, haven't they what?
It has been a rapid exit to beat the traffic. Marshall with the tap. Stringer forces a path off to Merritt. Now to Redmond. That is the performance that Bombers fans have been hanging out for all year. A 3rd win for Essendon. A costly, costly loss for the Saints, who slipped slide to 8th.
Our boys will play this kind of game, are always striving for glory and fame. See the Bombers fly up, up. The other teams they don't fear. They'll try their best, but they can't get near as the Bombers fly up.
Essendon led at every change by 16 at quarter time, 28 at the half, 37 at 3/4 time, and 35 points at the close. Essendon 15 goals, 17, 107 over St Kilda, 11-6-72. 3-10 the Bombers, 8-5 the Saints, who are suddenly vulnerable. It all unfolded in front of 33,244. Spuds game at Marvel.
See the Bombers fly up, up to win the premiership flag. Our boys who play this grand old game are always striving for glory and fame. See the Bombers fly up, up. The other teams they don't fear. They'll try their best, but they can't get near as the Bombers fly on.
Goal kickers for the winners, Wright booted 4. 2 each to Draper, Harrison Jones, Stringer and Guelphy. There were singles to Perkins, Durham and Martin. For St Kilda, 3 for Gresham, 2 for Billings, 2 for Higgins, and 1 each to King, Ryder, Marshall and Long. Essendon by 35 points.
It was just interesting to watch Ben Rutten. Remember when they had that big storming come from behind win against Hawthorn? He was out and amongst the players. Tonight the game was decided well and truly, and he just stayed on the bench, much more composed. Didn't want to over celebrate, but he'd be pretty proud of what they.
What you read into that?
It's hard to. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I reckon it would have been he would have decided, okay, that was good, but that's only one
standards
win.
Are there.
Yeah,
and it was a great lift in standard. I think they invested in this victory last week. They were much better, but they just didn't have the structure right. And they went to work on their structure, and they just brought supreme effort early. And they broke St Kilda. They broke them a couple of times. They had them completely broken in the first half, left the door open a little bit, and then when the game was there to be won at the 15-minute mark of the third quarter, Saints just didn't have it in them. And the Bombers found another gear. And you go through all their young players, and this is a side on the build. And this is why I think that they need to make a decision. Where are we? Don't go to the draft. Don't go to the free agency. It's too early. This is a really good young side emerging. Keep going to the draft and just come through with a formidable side of under 25s, and you'll go back to the promised land.
I couldn't agree more, Jared. I think it was a debate that we had last week was where are they at and what direction are they going in? And tonight was the blueprint of the type of footy we all anticipated them being able to deliver. Yeah. And that's off the back of, as you mentioned, so many young guys that have got so much upside.
Yep.
Keep investing in that, because ultimately they'd be setting themselves up for a long, sustained period. And I know it's difficult and at times tough to swallow for supporters in particular that are crying out for some success, but it takes time. And I think the performance you saw tonight is the sign of what potentially the Bombers could produce for a long, long period of time if they invest in the right people and the right direction.
Yeah, it was really an impressive display. There's lots of young kids in that side, but a couple of guys have been around a while, like Peter Wright. He's played 100 games, but he's been a slow burn, Peter. But he's worked hard. He's taken up his second opportunity, and he may be entering a phase that he becomes a really potent forward line player, because tonight when the ball was in his area, he was good on the deck. He created some goals with ground balls, but he was good in the air, and he's always been a lovely kick. So he may just be one that in the latter part of his career becomes a serious player.
Yeah, there's a lot to like, and you'd hope that they can build on that now. I think the next question you sort of jump to is, can they do it again? Can they back it up again? But ultimately, I think for the players, it's got to be some sort of reinforcement to what they need to bring and to that level and that consistency. And as you mentioned, from the moment the game started, they spooked St Kilda with their ability to chase and put pressure on. And the Saints didn't have an answer for a team that is also built around that pressure and being able to sustain that and bring that.
So often we've seen and heard Essendon talk about how young they are and, basically setting up an excuse for losing. Well, I look at how young they are and I think, okay, you've got a youngish group, but this is a positive. This is not a reason you should lose, and tonight they proved that theory correct. McGrath's still a baby. He's played 100 games, but he's still a young kid. Draper is a young kid. He's played less than 50 games, and yet given the right direction and given the right support, he can dominate like we saw him tonight. Hobbs, Perkins, Wright still young, Durham, Jones, Big Hattie, Redmond's still a baby in footy terms, played less than 75 games. Kelly is he's played 120 games, so we'll chop him out. Guelphy, Martin and D'Ambrosio, who's just played his first game and looked like he'd played 60 or 70 tonight. There's a lot to like, but clearly they all look better together when they play the right way.
He's enjoying the spoils of it right now with his friends and family down there, and that's another big tick, isn't it, for the mid-season draft?
And I feel for Darcy Parish also, I've got to say. He's missed out on this after having a great year. Interesting,
Kingy talked about in the lead into this game that he really wanted to see Essendon without Darcy Parish, because it does, even though you'd like him there, it does refresh the look of the middle and gives opportunity. That's how he got his chance last year when they lost about 3 players in Adelaide.
And I think we talked about that before the game, but you can have the same refreshment of the midfield by playing Darcy Parish in the half-forward line. You don't have to lose a serious player.
Yeah, Caldwell was the major beneficiary of that time tonight. So
I was hoping Hobbs would go in there for a period, but he didn't. He's learned a few lessons tonight.
There's a few coachable moments there.
There was, yes. I think KB will get a run at some stage. You are allowed a handball.
35-point winners, the Bombers, as they form up. And Massimo is going to be in the middle of the circle.
Enjoys the circle, Draper.
Essendon by 35 points. Our post-game partner is VRGF Gamblers Help. Call someone who gets it. Call Gamblers Help. Jaden Laverde is going to join us in a couple of minutes' time. So all of the messaging out of Essendon had rationalised what had happened and was all predicated on being better in the back end of the season. And we've seen the first piece of evidence for that tonight.
Yes, and on the back of that, you just wonder whether the review was called way too early. You know, there's no reason to have a review when you can play football like that. I mean, I don't know what they're going to find with the review. What I'd be finding is, okay, we've taken a period of time to settle. We haven't played the way we want, but, we play that sort of style, and the players will go in, a few pennies, or a few lights will go off, won't they? That, okay, this is how we need to do it. And if we do it, everyone spoils.
Absolutely, and I've alluded to that before. Surely the players now, they could not have a better blueprint as far as what their level is required for Essendon to play sort of the Essendon way, if for the lack of a better term. But I think for the supporters, they can come away and see tonight, having watched them a lot, you can now see a distinct way in which they're trying to play. And they played it together. There was all 18 guys involved on defence, all 18 guys involved on offence, and there was this manic energy and effort to just compete and scrap and fight and not give an inch. And when they play at that level, they're well and truly capable.
And they did so without a huge superstar. I mean, Stringer was okay tonight. He did a couple of nice things in the second half, but he wasn't a big factor in the first half, and they were dominant. It was the sum of all parts tonight. It's, the coaches would be talking about that all the time, but tonight it was absolutely proven there's not one man out there that let his teammates down.
Jaden Laverde was a big part of that. Jaden, congratulations. Welcome to AFL Nation.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
The wins have been round 4, round 8, so they've been spaced out. How good was it to get that tonight?
Yeah, it's a great feeling. I feel like we've been building in the last couple of weeks. Our pressure's been building. It's been a key focus of ours, and I thought we really brought that tonight and put Saints on the back foot.
I thought your effort after the 15-minute mark of the third quarter was absolutely superb. Did you feel as if you needed... Was there a message go out, or was it just everybody just steeled themselves and turned it around?
Yeah, we've been in those positions before early on in the year, and I guess we come together as a group after goals and sort of tried to trap down and get back to playing our own brand of footy. I thought we stemmed the momentum really well, and we got the momentum swinging back our way, and credit to the boys, we held strong, and that's probably the turning point of the game.
Jaden, can you talk us through how you as a group have moulded together and stuck together through a lean patch and continued to believe, and what kind of things has been sort of pushed to keep the group believing in the direction that you're going in?
Yeah, just trust in the game plan, trust in the personnel we got. Truck's been really good with keeping that belief strong and showing the areas that we've been improving. And we went back a couple of weeks ago and said we wanted to focus on our contest and getting back to our pressure around the ball, and that was what we were known for last year. So I think we went away from that in the first half of the year, but we're starting to get it back now and building back on what we stand for as a team.
Well, it's been to both your Friday night games, Jaden, and the effort was there last week, but the method was starkly different tonight. It seemed as if almost the penny dropped for everybody, and it started in the first quarter, everyone pushing hard back into defence. Your pressure around the ball made them turn the ball over. Did you feel like the penny had dropped through the week, or was it more out on the deck?
I felt like tonight it just happened. I felt like we've been training really hard during the weeks. We've kept it pretty similar each week, and it was about time it got going. So I feel as though it just clicked tonight, and it really showed.
You've got a big bloke in the ruck called Sam Draper. He looks a little different unit, but he looks like a very excitable character, particularly when you get in and sing the song.
Yeah, he's our barometer. He sets a tone, obviously, when he gets on the field, but he's a great lad to be around and spruces the group up, which is great.
2 metre Peter, can you give us a little rundown on him? He obviously looks like a club favourite, particularly amongst the boys. He has had a huge game in his milestone tonight.
Yeah, he's been great for us all year. He just competes every week, and he gives exactly what he says he's going to do every week, and that's just what we love about him. He's dependable, the boys love him, and he's obviously a special talent that's been really playing well, and he's probably in career best form for the year. So great we could get the win for him for his 100th game tonight.
How do you find playing in defence, Jaden? You've something you've found a home over the last couple of years, given that you're often a bit of mismatched in terms of size and certainly weight tonight.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, the transition's been good. I've obviously been thrown in the deep end pretty quickly, but I feel like I've gotten the most out of it, and I'm getting good challenges every week and loving it so far.
Can you tell us about the 15-minute mark of the third quarter? You just dropped away completely. Did you do something at halftime you'd do differently, or were you just jumped by the Saints?
No, we knew they were going to come out hard in the second half. We said that in the rooms. I feel like we just went away from the contest for a little bit around the ball, and it really showed. But once we wrestled that momentum back, we took full swing of it.
Tell us about the new lad, Massimo D'Ambrosio, and how it was having him down back.
Yeah, he's been great, mate. Since he's got in the club, he's really keen to learn and takes everything in. He had a great game last week, and credit to him, come in tonight and played the exact same way. Defends first and wins his own footy. So great user of the ball too. So he played really well tonight.
Good to have you with us, Jaden, and nice to see you back on the winners list.
Thanks, lads. Thanks for having me.
Jaden Laverty down with us in the Essendon rooms. 15-17, 107 to St Kilda, 11-6, 72. Tonight's St Kilda game has been for Holmes Glen. Enroll mid-year at Holmes Glen. We'll run the rule over St Kilda, and we'll hand out our post-game awards coming up next. Tonight has been Spud's game. Help us honour Spud's legacy by a virtual footy today at movember.com/Spud. The Dons by 35.
That quarter on AFL Nation was for McDonald's. Introducing the Australiano.
Sustained performance in footy is more than just one great game. It's about playing consistently, game after game, season after season. Host Plus delivers strong performance over the long term, with top returns over 20 years. A top-performing super fund over the long term, that's a plus.
Super Ratings SR50 Balanced Index, December 2021. General advice only. Consider the relevant Host Plus PDS at TMD at hostplus.com.au before deciding if Host Plus is appropriate for you. Past performance is not a reliable indicator of future performance.
Search, compare, Host Plus today.
Good for the game tomorrow?
Nah, still trying to sell the car.
Oh, give me your phone. Let me do it.
Yeah, good luck.
Car sales. Instant offer.
Car sales what?
Instant offer. You can skip creating an ad, dealing with buyers and waiting for a decent offer all weekend.
Is that the offer for my car already?
Yep. Now just take it to one of the official buyers nationwide, get it looked over, and the money drops the next business day. So I'll see you at the game then?
Yeah, see you at the game.
Car sales instant offer. The hassle-free way to sell your car.
T's and C's apply.
Sasha has a restaurant. Her challenge. Renew her business insurance policy and save money. Sasha, your time starts...
Yeah, it's all done.
But how could you...
I just went online to BizCover and got a business insurance pack. Saved me around $600.
But I want more drama.
Yeah, I don't.
There are literally no dramas when you go to BizCover, the business insurance specialists. Save time, money, and get instant cover at bizcover.com.au.
Safety Steel. Time to get real.
Tim Watson here. Can you remember as a kid painting goals on the side of your dad's shed and shooting for goals day after day? Well, they built them tough back then, just like the sheds from Safety Steel. For prefab, steel kit buildings and custom designed sheds that are tough and durable, search Safety Steel. For your dream shed, search Safety Steel.
Safety Steel. Time to get real.
Sheds come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, but if you're after a shed, go and have a word with the family-owned team at Best Sheds, because right now, you'll get 10% off the sheds at Best Sheds. Plus, all their sheds come with a 20-year manufacturer's warranty, and you can choose from the standard range or customise the shed of your dreams. Hit the sheds with Best Sheds 10% off sale. Best Sheds, 100% Australian owned and manufactured. Visit bestsheds.com.au.
Hey, Nick Del Santo here. I played over 300 games in the AFL, but I still remember my first game as a rookie. Back then, I needed all the advice I could get. So, if you're after an apprenticeship and need the same kind of expert help, don't go past MEGT. MEGT is Australia's largest and only national apprenticeship network provider, making them your true local apprenticeship experts. With MEGT, a winning career could be yours. So check out their free job board today. Visit MEGT.com.au or call 13MEGT.
Spitwater, built tough and ready in Australia for 40 years with a brand new look and the same rugged reliability. Right now, take advantage of the ATO instant tax write-offs for business. That's instant clean, instant tax write-off, instant job well done. With distribution, sales and service centres located in Brisbane, Sydney, Albury, Melbourne, Adelaide and Perth, and authorised dealers in all major centres throughout Australia. Call 1-800-SPITWATER now or visit spitwater.com.au today.
2 succulent beef patties, crunchy lettuce, tangy pickles and onion, all oozing with special sauce. The Big Mac. It's the burger equivalent of a mic drop. I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At Underworks, we're experts in socks. We test our all-day socks so they stay up all day. Test Underworks all-day socks for yourself.
We're number one down under for socks.
You're listening to the 2022 Premiership season on AFL Nation for Beaumont Tiles. Hybrid flooring in store now.
Gamblers help. Essendon by 35 points over St Kilda. Our categories, the MEGT Rookie of the Day, your local apprenticeship experts.
It had to be our... I'm not even going to take the chance of pronouncing his name, but...
Ambrosia?
Yeah, surely.
Has to be.
Has to be. He was outstanding.
Massimo D'Ambrosio.
I like the way Jared says it better, though.
Yeah.
MEGT supporting employers and apprentices for more than 40 years. The crucial moment for New Farm, Australian through and through.
Well, the crucial moment for me is the first goal of Essendon after the St Kilda charge.
Yep.
Can't remember which one it was, but
was it Stringer?
I think it was Stringer. Yeah. Just settled them.
Hutto made the point he had 5 shots at goal in that from the halfway mark of the third quarter onwards. Remarkable. Player power rankings for Red Energy, owned by Snowy Hydro, a renewable energy leader. So this is going to be Redmond, Gresham, Hill, Sinclair, Caldwell, Merritt, Stringer and Shield. Something around that. I don't think that will represent the votes necessarily. The tackle or tackler of the game for Toro. Count on Toro to get the job done. That was Miller or Wanganeen who ran down Martin.
Yep.
And that actually sparked St Kilda's onslaught in that phase. The Amy Clanger for good, who covers Clang as Amy does.
It was the spoil.
Yeah, it was the Laverde. Well, we should have asked him. He doesn't know the rules. Laverde just punched it straight out of him.
Into the Gresham snap.
But it all ended up for good because they won.
They did.
Damage done. Who covers Clangers on and off the field? Amy does. The injury report for Victor Sports. Sign up your club, victorsports.com.au. It looks all clear on that front tonight. The player of the day for Mildura. Regional development. Looking for an exciting weekend Triple A, visit mildura.com.au.
We're sticking with Dylan Shield.
I like that one, yeah.
It was early.
It was, but it
was full length, typified their night.
Who was your toughest player for Hard Yakka Legendary gear?
I liked young Caldwell. I just thought he just cracked in all night. He's a young kid who's played, what's he got, 25 games. I think he's going to be a star of the future, and his work rate and attack on the ball was good.
Hard Yakka for a new breed of legends. Goal of the game for Host Plus, an industry super fun for all Australians. The curler in the pocket from Billings.
Yeah, that was a beauty. He picked it up and delivered with the boomerang. No, that was a long way ahead of the next best, I reckon.
Most improved player for Valvoline. Which oil keeps your business moving? You know, Valvoline.
I'm going to go for the big boy in his 100th game. He just continues to improve. 2 metre Peter. Looked a lot like Peter Street at one stage of the match.
Imagine starting with that. It's early on.
I think Jared's influence is just getting on you nicely there.
No, give it to him. If he can continue this sort of ascent to the top, he's going to finish up having a great career.
Valvoline, the original engine oil. The unmissable moment for Drinkwise. Choose to Drinkwise. You won't miss a moment if you Drinkwise. That came in the pre-game. Tim Watson and Nathan Burke were superb in the message that they delivered ahead of Spud's game. The votes for AFL Nation's Player of the Year for Whirlpool, your leader in kitchen and laundry appliances.
One, I've gone with Dylan Shield. Backed up his performance last week. He was, I think, what's he ended up with? He's 25 touches, another 5 tackles, second most score involvements on the field. Thought he was outstanding. 2 to Redmond.
Yeah, couldn't leave him out.
He was outstanding. Other than the one clanger which we highlighted, he was unbelievable ball in hand, and I thought his defensive efforts, getting back and covering and intercepting and spoiling, he was terrific, and number 1 possession player on the ground as well. So he's done it all tonight. And 3 has to go to the milestone man. He finished the game on fire, 4 goals, number 1 score involvement player on the ground, Peter Wright.
3 to Wright, 2 to Redmond, and 1 to Shield. The votes, the ladder update for Cygnets. Power your life with a Cygnet power bank. So Essendon go to 12 points with a percentage of 77.5. The real story here, though, is St Kilda, who slide to 8th, 32 points, 113.3. Lost to Brisbane last week, lost to Essendon this week. Their next 4, Sydney, Carlton, Fremantle, and the Bulldogs. So what are we to make of St Kilda?
Well, I think everybody's going to stumble through the latter half of the season. It's a long year. They travelled to Brisbane. They came back a bit injured, so they brought in 3 or 4 players. And they played with no real energy except for a 15-minute period. They weren't, I don't want to take anything away from Essendon here. They were put under the pump by a side that were up for the fight, and St Kilda weren't. They came thinking they were here for the fight, but they just didn't look mentally prepared. And when the challenge was on in that third quarter, they couldn't sustain it. So they've had their stumble. They now need to beat a top 8 side to actually just square the ledger. They get St Kilda Sydney Swans next week up in Sydney. It'll be a big game. They need to basically win that to erase the disappointment of tonight.
Yeah, well, I said it in the pre-game. It was a huge game because now they're well and truly back in the pack, and the pressure is now well and truly back on them to have to win some significant ones. As you mentioned, they're going to have to beat the Swans in Sydney. They lose that, and then it's a race to even just stay within the 8.
Well, they're back with Carlton now, aren't they? Carlton have got an excuse. They've got all these players out. St Kilda have got a couple out.
Yeah, so Carlton are a game clearer than they're with Richmond behind them on percentage, and they're ahead of Collingwood on percentage. So they're in that 7, 8, 9 squeeze. It's a big loss for them.
Huge.
With St Kilda, with Sydney and Geelong, a chance to get clear of them if they are to win tomorrow.
But I think it's a challenge. I mean, it's a challenge with, Max King is a budding superstar, but he needs to become a superstar.
Essendon by 35 points over St Kilda on Friday Night Footy. Our post-game partner is VRGF Gamblers Help. Call someone who gets it. Call Gamblers Help.